welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is my fellow Ghostbuster, Andrew Meadows.
Bustin makes me feel good.
Can I tell you something? No, get out.
Hilarious. Yeah, we're here talking about Ghostbusters, dude.
Yeah, we're a little late. It's true. Movie came out, I think, probably two and a half weeks ago from when we're recording this, which is to say even longer, obviously, by the time this episode is up and available for our listeners. But at the same time, it was a little bit of a struggle, I think. I think I made it to the theaters a little earlier than you did. You know, you got work, you got baby, you got things going on in your life.
It's just been tough.
Yeah.
Theater trips have been tough, but I did make it. I made the trek.
All right, that's good. I wanted to make sure that you actually did see the movie that we're here to talk about.
Yes, I did. I'm not faking it.
Great. Very good. Very good. That Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is what we're up to. I guess the fifth-ish Ghostbusters movie, but really I guess the fourth in this continuity since it seems to share its continuity with the original two. Paul Rudd, the new gang, the Stranger Things gang is back. They're all there, and we're going to talk about it. So I'm excited. You know what? Busted makes me feel good too. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I might say it again later, but I'm going to say it now too. It's been a long time coming in the sense that it took a while for you to get to the theaters, but it's also been a while since we've actually sat down and recorded. We did our Academy Awards coverage, what feels like almost a month ago, which is not that far off the mark. It's not quite. It hasn't been quite that long.
2.5, 3 weeks at least, right?
Yeah, so it's been a while. So we're back in the saddle. It's very exciting. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to cover a lot. Since it has been a while, we've been kind of slacking. We had to scrap our listeners' corner and catching up stuff at the end of the Academy Awards because we were going on 3 hours and losing steam quickly. So we're going to try to do everything in this episode. We'll see if we can manage it all.
I'm drinking coffee.
We're starting at a half-decent hour. I am drinking a beer, I confess, but it's on the lighter side of things, and it's only my first of the evening.
I do also have a beer, but we're sipping coffee.
So I think we'll be in good shape, but I think this will be a good opportunity to talk about a Ghostbusters movie and then, get into some other stuff from our listeners, getting to, the other stuff that we've been up to, in those few weeks that have, really, I guess over the last month or so, since we had a catching up section all the way back on our part 2 of Dune Part 2. So yeah, that's what we got going on for this episode. So, buckle up. Lots to get into. And I'm going to start things off, I want to say, I think with a bit of a bang.
Ooh.
Because I have not one, but 2 fun facts to share with you, with our listeners. And get this, they're not actually Ghostbusters related. There might be a way that I can pull them into being Ghostbusters related, but by design, they are not Ghostbusters related. They're actually the fact that within the past week in Philadelphia, we've experienced some interesting scientific phenomena.
Really?
Yeah, a couple different things that don't happen very often around these parts. And the first happened April 5th, which was a Friday, and just about 10:25 a.m., Anna and I found ourselves in our apartment, and I didn't really feel much, but she felt it seems to be shaking a little bit. And she looked over at our bar cart, and the liquids in these bottles seemed to be sloshing around a little bit. And I personally observed that. I couldn't really feel anything.
A T-Rex, like a T-Rex stomping about.
I don't know. Maybe a T-Rex stomping about. Maybe I don't know. Zeus has thrown some lightning bolts at the Earth. I don't know.
Don't say the fucking Earth was shaking.
Or maybe it was a 4.8 magnitude earthquake that centered in central New Jersey. That was felt as far out as New York City, parts of Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut, Massachusetts, obviously Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as well. We don't really get earthquakes around here very often. Not sure the last time it happened. I think it's happened on the East Coast before, but it's exceedingly rare. It's usually a West Coast thing. You think about California, and I will say. I really couldn't even feel it. I was standing up, Anna was sitting down. She definitely like noticed it, and she was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't notice anything different." But then I looked at the bar cart and saw things sloshing around. I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know what that is." And she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, an earthquake, I guess." And I was completely joking, obviously, and come to find out, 20 minutes later, all the reports are out. I was like, "Nope, that actually was legitimately an earthquake," which I think was, I don't know, 50, 60 miles from where we are, something like that. So, a decent ways away, but we felt it. People felt it more than others. And just kind of crazy, right? So I think I can say, to my living recollection, I think that's the first earthquake I've experienced. I imagine there are others that are a bit more severe. I don't know that this caused a lot of damage. I don't want to say that definitively. Certainly, obviously not in Philly. Did it really have any damage? Might have knocked a thing off a shelf or two, but maybe closer to where it actually hit, there was a little bit of damage. But
like in New Jersey,
I don't really think. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was big enough to really
level a bridge or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing like that. So. Anyway, that was an experience. That was the first scientific experience that I had.
Wow.
So, I kind of, I'm thinking about this like, is this just, a classic fun fact? Is this a throwback fun fact of gherkins, and that sort of thing, where it's just like, it doesn't have to be related to the thing. It's just a fun fact. I'm just throwing it out there for the sake of throwing it out there. But I think there's a way to tie it in.
Okay.
Because ordinarily you'd think earthquakes, that's a scientific thing. You think that might happen. I have another explanation. Ghosts.
Oh.
Ghosts did it. So, and maybe the Ghostbusters were on the scene and they caused the earthquake or something like that, because they're always fucking shit up, they're doing, they're saving the world, but they're kind of fucking shit up in the process. So it could be ghosts and or Ghostbusters. Third theory, another Biden psyop. Unconfirmed, completely unconfirmed, but it could be.
The weather control devices.
Yeah, it was the deployment of the weather control devices, that's right. Now, my second fun fact is another maybe scientific phenomenon. Could be ghosts, could be another Biden psyop. Who's to say? Solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse happened in the United States. For those lucky enough to be along the path of totality, they would have experienced the total solar eclipse, assuming, of course, they could actually see up into the sky safely wearing eclipse glasses and such. Philly was not along the path of totality, but it was close enough that basically we were expected to get, I think, a 91% coverage. Yeah. Obviously, a solar eclipse is, for anyone that doesn't know this, is when the moon covers the sun. So a total solar eclipse is when the moon completely covers the sun. And
it was transcontinental too, almost, right? Like it.
Yep. I think it cut through
Texas.
I think at least Texas up into Maine. Kind of whatever line I guess is drawn. On that sort of path. And then continuing beyond, and before and stuff too. So like I said, it didn't directly cut through Philadelphia or anything like that, but pretty close
it's like
enough
the end
that
of
you
days,
could certainly
dude.
experience
East Coast earthquakes, sun being
solar
blotted
eclipses.
out. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Oof.
The moon will blot out the sun.
Yeah. It's wild.
So yeah, it was pretty neat. I actually took the day off because Anna was like, "Let's make a whole thing of this." I took the day off. I spent the morning trying to track down these goddamn solar eclipse glasses, because you're not supposed to look at the sun President Trump style and burn your fucking eyeballs out. So I got them. It wasn't too much of a hassle, and then we went out to experience it. Peak was expected to be around 3:30-ish, 3:23, I think, something like that. And wouldn't you know it, the clouds came rolling in. Right at peak, covered everything up, couldn't see a goddamn thing. So all that for mostly nothing. We went back inside, and then it felt like, is the sun peeking out a little bit? Obviously it's hidden a little bit already still, but maybe it's peeking out just a little bit, beyond the clouds. So we went back out about a half hour later, and we were able to see basically a crescent-shaped sun, which was pretty cool. We put on our glasses and were able to just stare at the sun with relative safety. Maybe not, still the best thing for your eyes or anything like that, but But they work pretty well. I mean, you put them on, you look at anything other than the sun, you can't see shit. You look straight at the sun, it's a little orb, So it was pretty cool. I wish that obviously we would have been able to see the full coverage, even at Philly, which wouldn't have been a full coverage, but it would have been pretty close to a full coverage of it. But it was neat. It was pretty cool. The next one is not happening in the the next one in the United States isn't happening for another 20-ish years, I think is what I've read.
Yeah.
2044, August 2044. But I think that one is supposed to expected to clip through Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll have your chance.
I had my chance. Here's a little fun fact, a little piggyback.
Well, there was one in 2017 or something.
There was one on the day of my divorce.
Well, so you had other things to
and I watched it. I watched it from the brass tap.
Oh, okay.
I went to the brass tap before, and I had a couple brews, and then I walked outside, and there was no sun. It was darkness.
I see.
And it was like, oh man, this is
completely blocked out. This is
pretty wild.
This is my life. This is it.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty neat little thing.
Nature, dude. Yeah. Science.
Nature, man. Science. Science. What is it all about? What was it all about? So anyway, those are the two fun facts that I have. Going completely off base here with not much Ghostbusters goodness, but two cool things. I could share them up front as fun facts and let people in on my excitement early, or I can save it, for 2 hours in, tuck it away in the middle of talking about other movies and TV shows. I thought this would be a good place to do it.
It's a perfect place.
Honestly, I looked at Ghostbusters fun facts and I was like, they brought back the original cast. Okay, well, I'm sure they paid him enough money to
it's not that
make everyone
fun.
Happy. There wasn't that much fun. I'm not saying it's not a fun movie. I just didn't really find anything in the behind the scenes that felt like, oh, that's really cool. Unlike Dune, Dune, we could have had 33 fun facts. One for each character, one for Hans Zimmer, 3 for Hans Zimmer. It just could have kept going and going. But
the cool thing about Ghostbusters, though, is it takes the paranormal and kind of gives it a scientific twist. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you're leading off with a little bit of sciencey.
It's kind of in the area, it's somewhere somewhat tangentially related, maybe, I don't know. But anyway. Do you have any fun facts? Have I inspired anything in you?
Nope.
You ready to move on?
That's it. We can move on. Let's move on to the news, man. We got
all right.
packed.
We got packed full of things. We have an in memoriam section that we're going to touch on very shortly. Headlines and some trailers. Then we'll be getting into some Ghostbusters goodness. So we'll start on the in memoriam front with obviously some sad news. It's kind of inherent to this section of things. Louis Gossett Jr. Passed away at age 87. He, I think, was best known for his role in An Officer and a Gentleman, in which he was the first black man, I think, to win a Best Supporting Actor Oscar, and that happened in 1982. It took until 1982 for that to happen. He played like a drill sergeant in that. It's a good movie. I think the first time I watched it was, I don't know, a while ago on TV, and I have the Blu-ray, have pulled it off the shelf, and have been ready to watch it, and haven't actually, popped it into the old PS5 yet. But I do want to watch it. As I recall, he's very good in that. He was also notably in the original TV show adaptation of Roots. And then more recently, something you may recognize him from was Watchmen, the HBO series Watchmen, where he played the older character, or the older version of the character Will Reeves, who was the original Hooded Justice. If you recall
okay,
that.
yeah, okay.
So that was a more recent thing. He was actually in the New Color Purple, which I would have talked about, recently, in maybe a couple episodes. And I think he's going to be in that upcoming movie with Ryan Reynolds, like Imaginary Friends. And I think he has a few other things. Like, he was a very prolific actor, did a lot of, smaller roles in movies, TV shows, got his start on Broadway, but a very storied career overall. And yeah, breaking barriers, man. I mean, first black man to win Best Supporting Actor. I think that's pretty good. And apparently, I'm reading this in the People article is what I'm looking at. They had originally hired another actor to play that role who was white, and then the director found out that 75% of the drill instructors in the Marines were black, so they kind of changed course and brought him in. And the rest is history, I guess. So yeah, sad loss, but 87 is obviously
It's a full life.
a pretty solid age to make it to. So I'll say rest in peace to Louis Gossett Jr. I hope I didn't overlook some of the other things that people would know him for. He's got a whole Wikipedia page separate from his Wikipedia page just for his screen credits and everything. So there's a lot certainly in there that I'm sure people have seen him in and wouldn't recognize him from. But certainly a fantastic actor and a sad loss, even if it is a full life. So, you have anything to add there?
He was good in Watchmen.
Yeah, that's true, and it was a great series.
I'm sure I've recognized him.
that.
I don't know if I've ever seen Officer and a Gentleman.
Fair.
When you say Officer and Gentleman, I think of that one. I think A Son of a Woman for some reason. With
Okay.
With I can't even remember what's his faces in it. I can't remember his name. Anyways, tangent. Moving on. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So moving on, yes, we turn to the second entry in our in memoriam section, which I think is unfortunately a much I don't want to say sadder entry, but certainly a more tragic entry. I think maybe that's a better way of putting it. Chance Perdomo was a young actor, 27 years old, and it came out just a little over a week and a half ago that he passed away in a motorcycle accident, which is just horrible. No real way to sugarcoat that. So he's most known for he was a main character in Gen V, which is the Boys spinoff on Amazon Prime Video that I think neither of us have watched, but certainly talked about. Whether trailers or talking about it in addition to maybe watching The Boys and keeping up with The Boys. But something you may have seen him in was Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I think maybe you watched a season or two of. I could be wrong.
I think I watched a couple episodes.
Maybe, yeah. I had it in my head that maybe you'd seen some of that. And I think he was a main cast member in that show, which was the Netflix kind of pseudo spinoff from Riverdale, but kind of. I think they did eventually bring them together, but it was kind of its own thing. But yeah, he played Ambrose Spellman in that, which was one of the main cast members in that show. And then Gen V, he played I think the second build character. Obviously there's been a lot of messages of just sadness and support for his family and stuff that have come out from Gen V cast members and producers. And I think that the show was close to starting production for a second season, and they've obviously bumped that back as they kind of deal with his loss and figure out how to move forward, which is just really out of nowhere, very sad. Born in 1996. Anytime I see late night, and if I see a birth date after mine, I'm like, first of all I feel old, but second of all it's just so sad. Just probably a promising actor, a promising acting career, just very, very tragically cut short, So, it's really sad. And it seems like a big loss. So rest in peace to Chance Perdomo as well. Are you ready to move into, maybe happier territory?
Definitely. 100%.
All right. Then we are going to move on to the headlines, which I do think present happier territory, thankfully. We got some Superman news, and note that I didn't say Superman Legacy news because I guess that's the first piece of news, is that James Gunn has announced that the new title of his Superman movie is Superman. Just Superman, not Superman the movie, to be confused with the Christopher Reeve one. Just Superman. Block quotes, Superman.
Good. That's a good title. I like that.
Which is short and sweet, seems to be appropriate for a movie about Superman. Principal photography started on it. Late February is when this came out, and he actually put out a post that gave us a very, very, our first glimpse, but a small glimpse of the shield, the S, on the Superman suit. So we haven't seen a full super suit reveal, but we've seen the S. We see kind of the texturing, the actual design of it, which I think, if I recall correctly, is the Kingdom Come S design, but with the normal colors. It doesn't have. I think it doesn't have the same colors as the Kingdom Come suit. And he's got some snow. It looks like. So I think we're going to be getting some Fortress of Solitude action, if that makes sense, or at least some snowy vistas, perhaps as well. So that's Superman. That's what's going on with Superman. It's coming to theaters July 2025. How are you feeling about it? James Gunn, this is his first real big thing with DC. I guess with the new version of DC. He obviously had the Suicide Squad, but yeah, how you feeling about Superman?
Homie's a real accomplished dude. So in one sense, Superman's a hard character to get right.
Yeah, goody two shoes. Is that interesting?
I mean, he's just
old school kind of. Yeah, there's a way that Superman just very easily comes across as corny and not cool, and I almost felt like Zack Snyder overcorrected in trying to make Superman cool. To the point where it was just like, oh no, it's just edgy now. It's just. He's snapping necks and just kind of brooding, and and it's like, well, this isn't really Superman either, So
yeah, I mean, it's a tight line, right? I mean, because sure. A lot of things that the thing that makes him relatable is his humanity, right? Is his and kind of that struggle to walk into two lives,
right.
to be the Superman and
he's an invincible alien,
right?
But at the same time, he's grows up in Kansas, rural Kansas with good human
Kevin
parents
Costner,
and stuff,
right?
Maybe Kevin Costner. I don't know who it is in this iteration. Probably not Kevin Costner. But if you're not listeners, we'll talk about Kevin Costner later.
But it's a hard character to keep interesting and just
sure.
while making him relatable. Because I mean, if he's just a hard character. So, but I think if anybody can do it. I think James Gunn's a pretty capable guy. He can. I think he has the potential to do it. So I hope that James Gunn delivers a Superman that I find compelling. I mean, I think comic wise, I think Kingdom Come is probably my favorite iteration of Superman. But I mean that. I've just never been a big Superman fan, you know what I mean? Because he's just an invincible alien. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm eager to see where it goes.
Right. I think one thing that will keep this Superman fresh and interesting as compared to a lot of the other iterations that we've seen is we know that other superheroes are going to be active and like part of this movie. Like we know there's a Green Lantern in it. We know that there's others in there like actives, like Hawkgirl I think is going to be in it. So that might be an interesting thing to see. Superman interacting with
other
these kind of offbeat heroes and stuff like that. Not in the Justice League setting, obviously we've seen that, but where there's these other, like it's just it feels like a more comic booky sort of world where like it's not intended to be hyper realistic or whatever. So yeah, I mean, hey, it's James Gunn's baby at this point. The whole DCU is his thing. Like this is the first proper movie coming out. He can't fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because otherwise it sets a really, really bad precedent for the rest of the universe if the guy in charge can't even get the shit right, And DC is in so desperate need of just getting their shit right, and the time is now. Marvel's kind of, we've talked about it a lot, that Marvel is not at the top of their game. Right. It's the prime opportunity for DC to kind of swoop in and basically, and I think in a good way, revitalize interest a little bit more. If we're going to assume that there is this whole thing of Marvel fatigue actually existing, like DC being good can only make things better for everyone. It might challenge Marvel to get their shit together in a way that they haven't needed to. So I hope that it's good. And at this point, in James Gunn we trust is kind of just where we have to land on things. But I think he's going to do right by Superman. It's my gut feeling. So that's my 2 cents on that. And we are going to move on to the next piece of news, which is more Super Mario Bros. Movie. Which a lot of the trades are reporting this as a sequel, and I think it probably will be a sequel. It's been dated for April 3rd of 2026, so just about 2 years away, which will come about 3 years after the movie came out. The first movie came out. It was announced during a Mario Day video from Nintendo with Shigeru Miyamoto and Illumination, back on board with this. So it's the same, obviously, creatives involved. The way that they phrased it in this tweet is, we are now creating a new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Bros., which to me doesn't, that to me doesn't read as a straight sequel. and again, I think this totally could be, and probably will be, but it just feels like a weird turn of phrase. So I'm like, is this a Yoshi movie? Is this fucking Luigi's Mansion? Because I just feel like, the first movie was such a smash success that they could go in any number of ways. Like, obviously, a straight sequel is a no-brainer, but I do think there's potential to make many spinoffs, and get crazy with it if you really want to. Like, it's not easy, obviously with games, you have so many studios working on things that like you can make, 3 games simultaneously that all feature Mario. It's a little more difficult when you're talking about a film, animation studio. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, what do you think? Mario movie, sequel, prequel, spinoff, whatever this ends up being. Again, probably sequel. What do you think? You ready for more? You want more?
Yeah, and I don't really care what direction they go in. I really enjoyed...
Yeah, you gotta... Well, who am I kidding? You're the one with the baby over here.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, excellent time. Excellent timing.
By the time Mario 3 comes out, he'll probably be like peak,
peak Mario.
This movie is directed at you. He'll probably still be slightly young even when this one comes out, but I think he'll still enjoy it. It's my bold prediction. I think it'll be very bright, colorful, and very kid-friendly, as the first one was.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't think the first one was amazing, but I had fun with it. As long as we have Chris Pratt doing voices, I'm good. Yeah, well, we'll get Garfield this year, so we're covered at least for this year. And then I'm sure he'll have a voice role next year or something like that. Yeah. Hey, I mean, I don't blame him for saying yes. It's not his fault. It's not his fault he gets offered these fucking roles.
No, absolutely not. I'd take the role too.
I would too, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, Mario Bros. Movie 2, whatever you want to call it, Super Mario Bros. Movie, again, April 2026. So next up on the headlines front, very much switching gears into probably not super baby friendly territory, unfortunately, but sort of Ghostbusters-y sort of thing, where it's like horror tinged, or just straight horror, I guess. Scream 7 is happening. We knew it was happening, and it was mired in controversy for a bit of time there, because they fired the lead actress after she made comments about the Israel-Palestine conflict, and then Jenna Ortega shortly left after that, and obviously she's busy with Wednesday and other shit going on. She's probably too good for the Scream franchise as is. But it kind of turned into this real whole well, what the fuck is this movie? Because you've lost your whole cast. Because we probably would have covered it back in the day. But when Scream 6 was made, notoriously Neve Campbell, who was kind of the face of the franchise, said, "Fuck this! You're not offering me enough money to come back and reprise my character." And apparently they backed up the money trucks because she's back, baby. She's in for Scream 7. Okay. They backed up the dump trucks full of money, said, here is a stupid amount of money. Please save us. We don't know what to do now, so come back, please. And she's coming back. The movie Scream 7 lost its original director, who I think had done some other horror movies, I think maybe like the Happy Death Day movies, if I'm not mistaken. But this one has a new director. It's Kevin Williamson, who wrote the first, second, and fourth Scream movies, and I think hasn't really directed a lot. I think maybe 1 or 2 actual directorial entries, so this is like a big step up, but obviously someone very intimately familiar with the Scream franchise itself, which I guess obviously every time we bring this up, it's also worth mentioning. I think we're several entries behind ourselves on the Scream franchise.
I'm a franchise behind.
You haven't watched any of them?
I don't think I've seen any Screams.
I thought maybe you'd watched like the first one at least back in the day, or at least
I'm sure I've seen. I mean, the first one was pretty popular, and it popped up on TV.
I think
quite
maybe
a
every
bit.
time we talk about it, you're like, scary movie. Like, is that Scream or Scary Movie? Because I
Carmen Electra's in Scream, right?
I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, I think I fell off the franchise after Scream 4, which was like a decade after the first 3, and then they brought back for 5 and 6, and then now 7, obviously. But yeah, so I'm a little behind on the times. I felt very soured on the whole thing after everything that happened with the firings and stuff, or the firings and departures for the original incarnation of Scream 7. I'm sure this is basically just a totally different script at this point. But I think they're trying to bring back like Courtney Cox and Patrick Dempsey and stuff as well. So
was Patrick Dempsey in Scream?
He was in, I think, Scream 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, yeah, I think they're trying to get the band back on board, except for the parts of the band that were fired and, had other shit to do and stuff. But the old band, the original members of the band, shall we say. So, I don't know. Hey, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. I think I can't say that I'm excited for it, obviously, given that I haven't bothered to watch the last 2 that have come out, but it is kind of interesting following the saga, I have to say.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's just like a complete train wreck. I mean,
so I don't know. I'd be curious to know how much they're paying her, because I don't think her career is like thriving right now or anything like that, but she also might be in a position where she's comfortable and she doesn't need the money. But it's the Chris Pratt thing. If someone comes to you and says, we will pay you $10-15 million, whatever it is, to be in this movie, you're like, okay, easy money, so
yeah. And I mean, she could have just taken a modest raise, just a small raise, just to like get the movie get up and running again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows how they negotiate out that shit.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that she sat out the entire movie, though, I feel like that's and the fact that it was such a shit show with the development of this movie, I feel like she had a lot of negotiating power. Or at least her agent was just like, come on, you cough it up, open up the coffers, Let me
back up the trucks.
Actually, that's not bad. Why don't we add an extra 0? And I don't mean after the decimal point. So anyway, Scream 7, it's happening. I don't know if we have a date for it yet, but probably, I don't know, they pump this shit out, so probably next year, probably would be my guess. Horror movies, they make them fast. So there you have it, Scream 7. Now, we kind of have a lot of DC news on this episode, which I kind of did intentionally, kept a lot of the stuff in here. This next piece of news, it's not great news. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great news. And that is that the Batman Part 2 has been delayed a full year.
Stop.
So, yeah, it was originally set for October of 2025 and has now been pushed to October 2nd of 2026. So we are more than 2 years away from the Batman.
Seems
Part
quite
2
excessive.
happening.
I wonder why they delayed it like that. It's huge.
I don't think the script is done. I don't think they're quite close to being ready to go in it. So I guess it's maybe just a thing of you could probably finish the script in the next little while, film it, and then have just enough post-production time to fit it in. But I think especially because this isn't really working with any sort of other continuity other than its own spinoffs, which, is another thing we'll get to later. You can take your time with it. There's no real rush necessarily. So it's spend as much time as you need tinkering with it to get it right. Maybe you need to finagle scheduling conflicts to make sure everyone's available or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it sucks at the end of the day. Like, obviously, I would rather have the Batman Part 2 in 2025 and not have to wait an extra year for it. But I think one of our, philosophies that we cited on a recent episode was, hey, if this is what needs to happen to get it right,
take it.
Fine.
Do it.
Do what you need to do, because you got to live up to the Batman one.
Make the best movie you can. That should always be the philosophy.
And it'll take as long as it needs to take. It's sequels can be done right. Dune Part 2 is a very recent example of take as much time as you need. Do it right, and when the final product really pays off in a big way. And certainly our hope is for the same with the Batman Part 2. So yeah, I mean, it sucks, but at the end of the day, I trust in Matt Reeves. I trust in everyone involved. Basically, get this right. And as I kind of alluded to, maybe there will be other The Batman adjacent stuff that maybe will keep us occupied before 2026. So there's that. So yeah. Anyway, what do you think? Any other thoughts?
No, I think that's it. It sucks, but like I said, if it's time, that's what they need to do. Let's do it.
Right. All right. Next piece of news is next headline. It's a real headline. It's a real attention-grabbing headline, which is a little dated now, admittedly. But the news is that the creator of the X-Men 97 Disney Plus revival of the 90s X-Men the Animated Series.
Yeah.
The creator of that, Beau DeMayo, was fired just weeks before the show premiered on Disney Plus.
What?
Which was a really weird situation. The show has since premiered on Disney Plus, and I've actually heard it's quite good, and feels like it's just picking right up with the original. I can't say that I've gone in myself. I'm still rewatching or watching for the first time, I guess, probably some episodes, some stuff from the original animated series. I just finished the Phoenix Saga though, so I can say that. So it's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, this was a weird situation. Like, why are you firing the creator of this show? Just weeks before the show premieres. The guy was already working on season 2 of this show. He's gonna attend the Hollywood premiere. Was involved with talks for maybe a season 3, and then just suddenly it was just nah, this guy's gone. And there really hasn't been a lot of detail that's come out since, which I think is kind of the odd thing. I think within a few days, someone talked to the head of the streaming television and animation departments at Marvel Studios, Brad Wenderbaum, and he basically is I can't talk about the details. We had respect and passion. We could tell that he had respect and passion, this being Beau, the creator, wrote some excellent scripts and stuff. But he, when asked if he would categorize the parting of ways as a firing, he says, "I don't. We parted ways is the best way I could say." So it's very a mysterious departure circumstances, and so naturally it's led to a lot of speculation. I've seen talks that maybe he created an abusive work environment, which I think was based off of someone that worked on The Witcher, which I guess he worked on part of season 1 for, and I guess maybe had some behaviors that didn't go down well with others. There was also this weird side story of maybe he had an OnlyFans or something like that. But it's
who cares?
Surely, yeah. Well, who cares? I guess he's if he wants to show himself off on this platform, I guess that's fine. It's, I don't know if it necessarily complies with the Disney Plus, thing, but unless there's something there, I don't know. It's just such a weird, bizarre circumstance. And again, no real answers on this point. So I just have to think based on the weird silence around it and just the fact that we haven't really got anything is I feel like he did something wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It doesn't feel like a creative difference is usual standard fare. It's just I want to make this thing. You want to make it differently. That's fine. I'm just going to go do something else. You know what I mean? So very odd indeed. So do you want to wildly speculate about what happened?
Man, it must have been something. It does have to be something bad. It's
got to be something bad, right?
But
not bad enough that we don't know about it necessarily, but something happened.
Yeah, especially for for the show to be made at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets made, and they know that it's going to be good, right? Because they've obviously made it, and they've seen it. They know everybody's excited about it, and then they shit can the guy just before it comes out. Yeah, so something happened. You know? So who knows?
Weird. But again, it seems like the show is moving along. I think without a hitch. Again, they're popping out episodes weekly. I think it's going to run through May. With I think 9 or 10 episodes in this season. Seems to be full steam ahead for another season and potentially even more. So I don't know. Anyway, I guess he won't be involved. I guess let's put it that way. So maybe the next couple seasons or however long it gets, look at it a little differently. I'm not sure, but I do want to watch it. I guess I somewhat included it here so we could check in on this. I think that we're probably in the same boat where we haven't quite made it through the original animated series, but maybe you've been queuing it up. I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
Oh,
we'll talk about it.
I don't have anything to say on it other than I want to watch it. So I'd love to hear from you if you have things to say on it later. But that's later. Now is another headline. Teen Titans is getting a live action movie over at DC Studios. James Gunn and company. They're confident in Superman. They're confident that he's not going to get shit canned himself after Superman. And so they're going, they're moving ahead with some other projects. They announced the Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters slate a little while back on everything. But now news has come out that, the Teen Titans are getting their own movie. And they've hired a screenplay. They have not hired a screenplay. They've hired a screenwriter to write a screenplay. Ana Noguera, who has already written the screenplay for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie that they're doing, which has Millie Alcock, who we talked about is now going to be Supergirl in the DC universe. She's apparently writing this Teen Titans movie. So no real word, obviously, on like what the lineup would be, but I think pretty traditional Teen Titans lineup is a Robin, a Flash or Kid Flash, Aqualad, Wonder Girl, Beast Boy, Cyborg, maybe Raven, Starfire. Like those are the kinds of characters that you might expect to see in a Teen Titans. We've had several iterations of Teen Titans. We had the Teen Titans animated show. We had Teen Titans Go, which was the goofy, comedic animated show. And then, lest we forget, we had a show very recently, I think within the past few years, just straight up called Titans, which I think was also basically a Teen Titans show.
I think so.
I think it had Nightwing in it and others and stuff. So yeah, what do you think? Teen Titans movie, you in for that?
I guess if it's good, we'll see. I mean, this is a whole new push, so I got to be open to it.
They got to sell you with at least one. Stick the landing with Superman or whatever the first big TV show that comes out is. Then maybe you can start to buy into because it's kind of the same thing with Marvel, where it's just like they're making what now? Oh shit, okay, But once Marvel earned your trust, you're like, okay, that could be pretty cool. Making a fucking Ant-Man movie.
Yeah,
Paul Rudd's in it. That sounds fucking sick.
Yeah, you get hyped up.
It was
right.
But
there's no real jumping off point here. So I guess we'll just I have to. It's got to hold my hand and walk me out slowly, and we'll start with Superman and kind of branch out from there.
See what you got. I mean, I like Teen Titans as a concept.
I like that cartoon.
Team up. Yeah. So, no reason this can't work. No reason this can't be cool and something we haven't seen in live action, really, because I think even, again, same thing. That Titans TV show, as I recall, was very adult.
Looked very gritty.
Yeah, in a way that
edgy.
A Teen Titans movie doesn't need to be. It could be, and it's going to be angsty and stuff. It's, it's teens and stuff, but it doesn't have to be fucking edgy at the same time. I mean, some teens are definitely edgy, big old edge lords and just fucking cringe lords, basically at a certain point. But
some teens are just happy though, happy guys.
Some teens are they feel okay about things, But hey. The thing we're going to talk about later?
What's that?
What sort of emotions that teens might feel? We'll get into that later. We'll talk about that later. I'm just queuing it. There's a lot on this episode. I wasn't fucking kidding when I said it up top. We're getting into a lot. Mid news, I'm fucking sizzling the shit out of catching up more. Maybe
it's like a fair,
maybe
all the smells and everything. Yeah. Everything's sizzling.
Is that funnel cake I smell?
Yeah.
No,
it's fucking news.
It's teenage emotions. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, one more headline, and it's a good one. We end on a good note. We wanted to go for some Sony synergy. As we all know, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire is a Sony movie, and Sony is not content to release one or two Marvel movies this year. They're actually releasing 3. One has already come out, Madam Web. We unfortunately did miss out, but I think it's on VOD if we really wanted to go back to it. Maybe a bonus episode. We'll see. Craven the Hunter obviously is going to be making his triumphant debut later. Jeez. But
forgot about that.
Venom's going to be back for number 3, but it might be the last one because it's going to be called Venom: The Last Dance. That's right. Venom and Michael Jordan are teaming up, guys, and it's going to be great.
Me.
But Sony's really high on this. They really want you to see us. They're moving it up from November 8th to October 25th of this year.
Almost my birthday.
Almost a birthday present. You get Dune yanked out from under you last year, and now you almost get fucking Venom. I mean, really, because if I do the rough math on that, your birthday is going to be on a Monday or something like that. So if you you're the weekend after your birthday,
go see The Last Dance.
Take a little IMAX trip. The Last Dance. He could do that. Tom Hardy's back, of course. He's not riding his motorcycle in this, but he is he is symbioting about. He's doing that. He's doing a bit of that, that sort of thing. But
that motorcycle movie. When he opened his mouth in the trailer, I'm like, what? What is this?
And then Austin Butler came in and did something stupid too. And then that one had Jodie Comer just being like, Southern maybe? I don't know, man. That movie, that trailer, I don't even know about the movie itself. Fucking wild. Absolutely batshit. Arguably even more batshit than his Venom voice, I mean,
definitely 100%. It knocks you off
straight up unhinged. Because this one, even what he's doing, he's like, "Oh, I'm Eddie Brock. I've got a little bit of a wisp, but I'm a reporter." I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing here, but it's somehow less ridiculous than motorcycle. So. Anyway, Venom: The Last Dance. We're already getting very unhinged here, which is what I think the Venom franchise has kind of basically become, is just absurd. Also bad, of course, but just absurd.
I drive and I drop the gups off at daycare, and there's this person that walks their dog every morning, like in the neighborhood close to the daycare.
Sure.
And probably like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, he wears a Venom shirt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be Venom the comic book character.
No, it's not.
No.
Oh,
okay. All right.
No, it was like he went on opening night and bought the shirt. Yeah. Like the logo treatment, the whole 9 yards. And
They both made a decent amount of money. Let's put it that way. There's a reason they're making 3 Venom movies. It's not just for shits and giggles. It's because they actually do make money.
People like them. I guess to each their own. But opinions. Everybody's got one, but that doesn't make yours right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can still be wrong. You're entitled to be wrong about it, but it doesn't change the fact that you're wrong. Yeah, no. I mean,
I digress.
I don't begrudge people for enjoying these movies.
I do,
but I do think that it's something else entirely to pretend that they're good. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's almost like a different conversation. So anyway, opinions are what they are, like we said. So anyway, Venom: The Last Dance. We're getting it October of 2024. Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Maybe I'll get myself a t-shirt.
Maybe you will. Maybe you should. But that's it for the headlines. We are on to trailers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Trailers. You ready to get into these? Are you excited about some of these things?
I am excited about some of these things, yes.
Okay. Not all of them. How about number one? Number one on tap is Horizon: An American Saga. Here's the Kevin Costner reintroduction into the episode. He's back. He's indulging himself with a 2-film epic sort of thing. Big Western epic, it would appear, with a very expansive cast and such. Called Horizon: An American Saga, which we talked about when we did our look ahead episode, but now we've gotten a full 3+ minute trailer showing off things for part 1 and part 2. Or chapter 1 and chapter 2, excuse me. Chapter 1 will be coming to theaters June 28th of this year, and chapter 2 will follow on August 16th, which is almost a birthday present for me. So, that's cool.
Your present's
so what do you
a lot
think?
Better than mine.
All right. So are you digging this? You like number one on tap?
So this is what I have. Are you familiar with Costner films? Have you seen his movies?
I mean, I've seen some, sure.
You've seen some? Yeah. I think I personally, for my money, I enjoy Costner movies. They are long, meandering tales of just usually they're just they have big goals, right? But his, like in this, the trailer's 3 minutes. The movies are going to probably take 10 hours. It's going to be a 10-hour.
Each of them are going to be 2+ hours at least.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, because you got a 3-minute trailer here, and it just feels like the tip of an iceberg. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And the cinematography looks beautiful. I really hope it's in a premium deal. Hope it's shot in IMAX or something. I don't know if it looks like it could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyways, I think he's a very capable filmmaker. I like Westerns. We talked about this before. And I like Costner movies. I like big, long movies.
Now you get two of them.
Yep, I get two of them. So that's going to be, I think it's good. I don't know about breathing through a shotgun under the ground. I don't know about that. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Looks cool. Looks like a good movie. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the fact that I don't know if he's personally responsible for casting this movie, but he managed to find a love interest about 35 years his junior. So, you know, that's real cool. That's Hollywood for you, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. We watched the trailer with Anna, and she's like, "Is that supposed to be his daughter?" And then, you know, 2 scenes later, she's on top of him. I'm like, I don't think that's his daughter.
But it might be like it very much gave me the vibe of a brothel kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Could be. You know, an old man. You know, yeah, maybe. Or Kevin Costner thinks he's 40 still. That's also possible. That's
definitely possible.
He's like, I look good. I'm 40. No, sir. My good sir. You are almost 70 years old. But he looks pretty good.
He does look good. Yeah.
I will say. I'll give him that much. But, you know, I think you're right. It looks long, meandering. It's an epic. You know, it looks very expansive. I had the concern for a little while. I was just like, oh, is this going to feel really...
It looks slow. Looks like a slow movie.
It looks slow, but I had there was for a while I was like, is this just going to, you know, make Native Americans look like, you know, savages and shit like that? And I was like, this could get a little offensive and you know, troublesome in a certain way. But it does seem like it's going to give us multiple perspectives, you know, of just kind of, you know, obviously these people's way of lives intersecting in a bad sort of way with these conflicts. So, I mean, I haven't seen all of Kevin Costner's directorial, you know, movies and stuff, but certainly he's done some stuff in the past. He does seem to be a big Western guy. Like this is a super self-indulgent project. It very much feels like, you know, he's got the clout. He's got the post Yellowstone. I'm done with that shit clout. You know, I'm just going to make my own fucking Western, and I'm going to just probably do it in the way that he probably always wanted to do, of just this fucking huge epic tale that is so epic that not even one film can fit it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a TV show. It's theatrical events, you know, and the way that we're going to get the Beatles cinematic universe, this is the Horizon cinematic universe, you know? So,
yeah, excited about it, dude.
It looks cool. You know, I mean, you struggle to see Ghostbusters in theaters. I don't know if you'll get to see this one in theaters, you know, given how long it very well could be, and given the fact that there are 2 of them. But I would like to check it out.
We're just gonna have to plan well in advance in June.
Yeah,
it's in June
and August. June and August. You got to plan. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, we'll maybe cover it. We'll cover it if we can fit it in. It's kind of what it seems like. I don't know what it's coming out around then. You know, we could always wait for chapter 2 to come out and cover it as one complete package as well. That could be a way to do it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Horizon American Saga. To be continued. Stay tuned.
TBC.
Correct. September 20th of this year, a little bit later, we're going to be getting an animated movie from Universal and DreamWorks called The Wild Robot. We got an official trailer for it. Very talented voice cast that is largely not on display in this trailer. That includes Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal, Catherine O'Hara, Bill Nye, and maybe some others, Stephanie Hsu. And Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's in this as well. So what did you think about this official trailer? Let's just start there.
Looks like a Wall-E for a new generation.
Yeah, definitely some Wall-E vibes, yeah. I mean, the robot lost in the wild wilderness sort of thing.
I think it might be. I got vibes between Wall-E and the what is it? Giant robot, the Iron Giant.
Giant.
Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that it's going to be very like the trailer kind of like welled up some emotions in me a little bit. Like I could feel it coming out. As I was leaning over in the kitchen watching this trailer on my laptop, I'm like, "Ooh, this is going to be potent. I think this is going to be really special. I think it's going to be really good."
I could definitely see that. I really like the animation style. You know, I think everything. Like, I feel like since Spider-Verse came out, I feel like companies have allowed themselves to buck traditional animation styles and get a little, you know, more out there with it and a little bit more. I don't know, play it less safe. And this, to me, it's not in the way that Turtles was very much just kind of doing a Spider-Verse thing. This isn't doing a Spider-Verse thing, but it just has like a unique kind of, I don't know, watercolor sort of animation style that makes it feel different. Like, it's like from the studio that brought you How to Train Your Dragon. Like, this doesn't look anything like How to Train Your Dragon in terms of animation style. I mean, obviously that's a good thing, like, those movies, if there's any sand in this, obviously that we know that they're in good hands. But I really, really like the style of this. And I really like this trailer. I mean, I thought this trailer was really powerful and interesting, and it felt almost like a teaser because it really was so devoid of dialogue and stuff. And I am wondering if this is going to be representative of what the movie is going to be like, or if it's going to be not as, I don't know. Like, to me, I looked at this and I was like, oh shit, this could be a movie with minimal dialogue, WALL-E style. Like WALL-E doesn't have a lot of real dialogue. WALL-E, Eva, like they got that for 2 hours for the most part. And this could totally be that. And I don't think it's going to be quite to that extent, but it feels like it could be from this trailer. And I don't know. I like the design of the robot too. Yeah, the design, just the visuals of it all, I think just really looks good. The colors, it's kind of got like spectacular. It's kind of got like a Jack Scarecrow kind of look to him. His hollowed out eyes and his round, just like the way his body's shaped. And well, I guess not really shaped because Jack Scarecrow's like super thin, but the face is about the same. And Jack was a guy exploring Christmas Town, right? Like he went into it, like it was just all totally different. What's this? I can't believe my eyes, and he's, and he's kind of like doing the same thing. This robot's like exploring this very dangerous place. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I'm real excited about it. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. September 20th is when we're going to be getting the Wild Robot. But this is an adaptation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did see Peter Brown's beloved award-winning #1 New York best-time seller, The Wild Robot. Yeah. Can always read that, if you don't want to wait till September, should you choose to do that. Nah, we'll wait. All right. Well, another adaptation that we're getting, not from a novel, but from a video game, is for something coming to Prime Video very, very, very soon. It's a TV show called Fallout. We have an official trailer for it. We've had an official trailer for it. We're just now getting around to talking about it because as of recording, this comes out literally tomorrow on Prime Video. All episodes, I think 8 or 10, something like that. It was originally set for the 11th, which is a few days, but they've bumped it forward or pushed it forward, I guess, however you want to phrase it, to April 9th or April 10th, I think. So I know how to do dates. But April 10th is when this is going to be coming out, which is to say, again, for those of you listening to this, you're like, that's in the past. Yeah, you're right. It's already on Prime. Go watch it if you want. But we're gonna talk about whether we're gonna watch it on Prime. So how are you feeling about Fallout? And I think you've had some familiarity, obviously, with the video game franchise. Prior to the show coming out. So are you feeling this show? I think it looks way better. This trailer looks way better than what I thought was going to be delivered. Okay, you were expecting another Halo, maybe? Yeah, I was kind of expecting shit. But it looks like it's interesting. The world for me is kind of like blah, so it's only as good as the stories that you're willing to tell within that universe, I think that the video game has some really well written, arcs and stuff. I think what is it? Fallout Vegas, I think it was New Vegas. New Vegas. It was an incredible game. But if you have a post-apocalyptic world in Fallout, I mean, you can really just fall into the same trappings of every other post-apocalyptic kind of thing, right? So it's just not terribly interesting. But the story looks like it could be. It looks like it's interesting. Looks like it. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a faithful translation of the world. Yeah, the concept of getting out of the vault and you end up in this post-apocalyptic hellscape, and and everyone's trying to kill you, and there's fucking irradiated monsters and shit, and people in these big armor. Like, it really feels like it's nailed the visuals of what Fallout is, and it does seem like it's taken the core story and I think the tough thing is translating something like Fallout, which is kind of designed to be open world, this RPG with a million side quests and all that. You got 3, you've got New Vegas, you've got 4. Like, there's just so many places they could take this. But it does really seem like I don't know what the exact thrust of the story is, other than, wide-eyed person enters this hellscape and has to figure out how to, exist in this world. We don't really know, I think, too much beyond that. But I feel like that's a really interesting concept from the get-go, and and that can take you to so many different interesting settings and set pieces and stuff. And it feels like this show does really seem like it's going to be a good realization of what a Fallout TV show could be. We live in an age where we're finally getting video game adaptations that just feel like, oh yeah, like you can do it right. I mean, The Last of Us obviously is, again, probably the peak of that, and I don't think this is going to be Last of Us tier or anything like that. But if it's, and we made it through Halo Season 1. It wasn't the worst thing ever. We've had worse video game adaptations. It certainly wasn't the best. Could have been better if it was closer to the game. And this, to me, feels like, all right, it really does seem like they're using the game to its advantage, like let's use the things that work in the game and bring that to life, literally in this show. So,
good
I
cast
think
too.
We'll probably get, good cast. Love Walton Goggins, obviously. Great to see him. Looks like he's relishing his noseless role here and pre-noseless role as well, having a good fun selling the vaults and stuff. But I don't know if reviews have quite dropped for this yet. I mean, it's so close to coming out, but I don't know if TV shows, I think, are a little, slower, I think, with reviews, trickling out. So yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, what do you think? Are you going to, regardless of whether reviews, are you going to jump in? Are you going to wait for reviews and then maybe see if this fits into your schedule? How you feeling? Are you ready to dive
what I'm going to do is I'm going to
this?
finish a particular show that I've been watching, and then I will hop onto this.
This will be next up, you think?
I think so.
All right. Yeah, let me check. Let me see how many episodes this is. I'm going to guess, again, 8 or 10, but let's find out for sure. 8 episodes. 8
Perfect.
episodes, and again,
it's good.
By the time you're listening to this, they're all up on Prime Video. So take the dive, take the plunge if you want to, and that's Fallout. Any other thoughts?
No, I think that's good. I think I've said my piece.
All right, well, let's talk about those teenage emotions. I didn't bring them up for nothing. They're taking center stage, center ice in Inside Out 2. This is coming out in the summer, June 14th. I know we talked about, I think the teaser came out by the time we had done our look ahead episode, but we get, a bit more reveal of the other new emotions beyond anxiety in this one, right? We get, we got embarrassment,
envy,
and others, I think. So yeah, what do you think? I mean, the first one I think was, packed an emotional punch.
Jesus,
as I recall,
brutal.
As I recall you saying.
Oh man.
This one, she's just, she's getting older. She's getting these new emotions, and she's going through these, it just feels like it's going to hit you in the feels all over again.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a relatable thing, right? I mean, it's and it's done so creatively, and the sarcasm. I just keep thinking of the sarcasm.
The sarcasm.
Yeah, and it echoes out, and it's
joke.
Shitty. I think it's yeah. I think it's a creative. I think it's a creative tour de force. At least the first one was. I mean, it was just so well done. And this looks like more of the same, just following the trajectory of, I think it's Hope, right? Hope's the main character. Is that her name?
I think Riley.
Riley. That's what. Why was I thinking Hope? I don't know. Anyways, Riley.
Maybe that's an emotion.
Maybe that's a new emotion. That's a dire emotion. Hopefully we don't have to fucking explore Hope.
You get that after your teenage years,
when you start working.
40s. Yeah, you're done with fucking school and shit, then Hope, hope, but it's hope and despair. They're always doing
exactly. Those are the two.
They're fighting each out. Despair wins most of the time, but sometimes hope creeps in.
That's Inside Out 3 when she's an adult.
Yeah.
Anyways, real excited about this one too. When's this one come out?
June 14th, just a couple months away.
Baby's definitely going to be too small to enjoy that one too. But
yeah, but that's okay. But by the time it's on Disney Plus and all that, he can take it in too.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he'll appreciate it necessarily at that point, but he's got some years ahead of him before and he'll have plenty of time to watch Inside Out 1, 2, 3. Maybe don't show him 3 just yet. Wait till he's a bit older for 3. He doesn't need to know about hope and despair just yet. He's too young and naive for those sorts of things. But yeah, I want to rewatch the first one. I think certainly before this one comes out. I haven't seen it. I think since it came out, which at this point has been a long time. But I am looking forward to this. I think it looks, emotional.
Yeah.
Deep, and entertaining. Just feels like it's just doing all the right things. So looking forward to it. Now I am also looking forward to a new Star Wars television program, which is debuting with a 2-episode premiere on June 4th.
God dang, June's packed.
Yeah, they're loading up. We'll have weekly releases from that point on, and that is a TV show called The Acolyte. In an age of light, a darkness rises. This is our next Star Wars Disney Plus series, and a very unusual break from the usual Disney Plus sorts of things. Oh my God, it is not set around the original trilogy. This is set at the end of the High Republic era.
This is the first, isn't it?
This is the first live action thing we've had with High Republic at all. We've had lots of books, we've had lots of comics, we've had like short stories and stuff. It's been a multimedia project, but this is the first foray into live action in any sort of way. This particular show is at the end of the High Republic era, which they're saying is about 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So start at the Phantom Menace, kick it back 100 years, and then boom, you are here. You have a respected Jedi Master investigating a series of crimes that bring him into a conflict with a former Padawan learner and reveal sinister forces. So that's the thrust of The Acolyte. Now we've seen this trailer. What do you think? Are you in?
I am 2 feet in, yes.
Okay. If you had 3 feet, would you put them all 3 in?
I think I'd put all 3 of them in there, yeah. It's new. It's fresh.
If you were an irradiated Fallout mutant, of course.
Right. Wookiee Jedi.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty
sick. Can't be mad about that.
Like some sort of assassin trying to assassinate Jedi. That's cool.
Oh. Wow.
You have like 6 people trying to get up on one guy that just threw his lightsaber, and then he explodes the Force. That's fucking cool.
Trinity, she's a Jedi now.
Yeah, Trinity's in there. Yeah.
Squid Game.
And she's just
Squid Game's a Jedi?
nonchalantly dodging the assassin, and then she pushes her. You also have the younglings in the very beginning.
That's true. You do. Yeah.
And he seems like a cool Jedi Master. So, on the surface and, initial presentation, I give this an A+. I think this is good Star Wars stuff. It's fresh. It's exciting. We'll see if it's good. Hopefully it's Andor. Of course. You hope for Andor.
We all want it to live up to Andor.
But even if it's
I'll take an Ahsoka.
Yeah,
like an Ahsoka level quality show.
That's right. I'd even take like a solid good season of Mando. You know what I mean? Just fresh.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm there day one regardless. I'm pumped. I'm very excited.
I mean, we don't need to be convinced too much for more Star Wars stuff. 8 episodes here. Like I said, the 2-episode premiere is June 4th, so this will run, I guess, probably through July, August, however long that run adds up to. I think just for me, the biggest thing, I mean, I think it looks good. I think, it's just the fact that it is set in this totally different era of Star Wars than we've literally ever seen with our eyes beyond reading pages. I think is really, really exciting. To me, I hope that it's this step in doing that. Like, we know that we're getting the Dawn of the Jedi sort of thing, which is going way, 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 way back. But this is fine. Like, if you could do a High Republic movie, I think that there's so much in this particular era that you could explore for a few years and then move on to do something else. I think that's the way to keep Star Wars fresh and engaging is to do different things, and like I'm not mad that we're getting a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Obviously, I'm not mad that we're going to get a Rey movie, or at least we're supposed to get a Rey movie and stuff. Like, I think it's okay to do all that, but I think the key is do new and exciting and different things as well, to keep people engaged. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. I think it could be really, really cool. I actually started reading the first High Republic book, Light of the Jedi. I'm like 35 pages in, so I'm very, very, not very far into it.
How are the 35 pages?
It's cool. I actually, weirdly enough, I'm getting a lot of Expanse vibes from the early bits of it. There's a lot of like spaceship stuff, and we're only really just now getting into an introduction into the Jedi, coming into the scene. So it's cool. It basically starts with this like planet and system just getting overrun by things from outer space, and we don't really know what it is, and basically the whole planet is getting destroyed, and so the Jedi have to come in and try to evacuate people and shit. So shit's going down. Shit's popping off like almost immediately. People are dying left and right. I'm like, this is intense to start with. So it's pretty cool. But there's a lot there. Light of the Jedi. I think there's like phases within the High Republic and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot there. I don't know that I'll get through all of it, obviously, but I had a couple of the books on the shelf. So yeah, I've been trying to dip my toes into it and, see if I like it. And so far I do. And I am definitely liking this High Republic stuff. So the Acolyte, looking forward to it, coming out in June. Two more trailers. We are almost done. How about this next teaser trailer that we're getting, for a movie called Alien Romulus, which is making its way to theaters August 16th. Same day as Horizon and American Saga Chapter 2. All right.
We're having a double header at the movie theater.
We could do that. Alien Romulus. So it sounds, if you're a double header, that implies that you want to see it in theaters.
Yeah. Wild Robot made me kind of like, I could feel emotions welling up, I didn't cry or anything, but I could feel it. Like, it's like, ooh, this is going to be potent. Horizon had me kind of like slack jawed, just like looking at it. It's like, oh, this is going to be a real pretty movie. It's going to be slow. It's going to be, it's going to be a character piece.
Sure.
Star Wars had me hyped.
Right. Yeah.
And Alien Romulus kind of gave me some goosebumps. And it's
some Ghostbusters bumps.
Ooh, yes. I think it's going to be a terrifying alien.
Yeah, it looks kind of back to roots of, maybe the first Alien movie, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there is some chaos with the face huggers. They are chasing people and tackling people. I guess
that's true, but
that might be the initial thrust, like they find the ship and then these people get like just bombarded with these face huggers, right. and now you're down to like two people. Like there's two people that survive the thing
against hordes of aliens, or just a few aliens, or
one replicant. It's not a replicant. What are they called in the alien universe?
Engineers.
No, the robots, the one that get cut in half and all like they're all white and shit on the inside.
Are they just androids?
I think they're androids. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. You got one android and then you got one Ripley looking chick,
Right.
Yeah. I'm very hot.
You always have the young woman who's maybe pretty tough. Maybe she's badass.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a very well made trailer. You had the long.
I have to agree. I think it's short but effective.
Yes.
And I think maybe the difference, which I guess is certainly prevalent in the first all Alien movies, is like this level of body horror. But Fede Alvarez is a director who loves himself some body horror. Between that, the Evil Dead 2013, Don't Breathe. He's clearly someone that kind of revels in grossing people out a bit, and this definitely seems to be leaning into that even more so than I think other Alien movies have.
Like, what better property to dabble in that stuff? I mean, you got chest bursters.
It's full body horror. It's just how much you want to lean into it. The chest bursters, the face huggers are just fucking literally implanting shit through your mouth. Like, it's disgusting. It's horrifying.
The guys. Oh man. I'm pumped. I am very excited.
I have to say that I agree. I am excited for it. And I think this was originally going to be like a Hulu movie, so this feels, based on this teaser, good call. Put this in theaters. I would rather watch this in a dark theater with hopefully not assholes in my fucking theater.
Don't bring corn into Colton's theater.
No corn, no fucking talking, shut your trap, whatever you need to do. Put your phone away, you dickbag. But give me a good pristine theater environment, and I would prefer to watch Alien Romulus in that. So August 16th, maybe this is the real birthday present. Sorry, Horizon. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks good, and I hope that this is something that can live up to the teaser, certainly in terms of just what it promises to be. So yeah, one last trailer, one last one, and I saved another DC thing. I thought, that Batman news was obviously a bit of a bummer, right?
Yeah.
We didn't love that. So I figured, well, not all is lost on the Batman front, because we are getting the Penguin later this year.
Ooh.
The next chapter in the Batman saga from Matt Reeves. So I don't think they set a release date other than fall. I think they just said fall. But Colin Farrell's back. He's still unrecognizable. Buried in lots of makeups. But he's going to be showing up for 8 episodes, all about Oswald Cobblepot.
Okay.
And, it to me looks like more of the same, style and vibe of what the Batman brought. And, since I got to wait 2+ years for the movie, maybe this could tide me over. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks great. It's a prequel.
I think it's actually set in between, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I could certainly see it. I could certainly see it, having flashbacks and stuff. Maybe we'll get little baby Oz and stuff, and stuff like that. But
I certainly hope not.
Maybe we'll see. You want to know how I got these scars? Like maybe we'll get that a little bit with him. But let's see. No, it's supposed to take place 1 week following the events of the Batman.
Wow.
Exploring the rise to power of Oswald Oz Cobblepot / the Penguin in Gotham City's criminal underworld. So no, this is
how about that?
Fully following the events of the Batman. Maybe we'll even get a Batman cameo like that. That would be like a cool finale sort of thing. It would. I don't need him fighting the Batman, but just having the Batman, kind of be around, I think would be a cool way of handling it. So. Or it could just be standalone. Could be its own thing. You don't want to upstage the Penguin in his own show, I guess, perhaps. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it looks...
it looks good.
It looks good. It's a teaser. I think we'd seen a little bit of footage, I think, in some previous things that they've shown off, I guess, just kind of hyping people for Max and all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, excited for it. Colin Farrell. It's just... could barely see him in there.
No, yeah, it's a different person entirely.
I'm not fucking dull,
It's wild, isn't it? What a guy! What an accomplished
just
actor.
completely different people. Just completely different people. Absolutely batshit. Anyway, all right. Well, I think that's it. I think that might be it for our headlines, trailers, all that good stuff.
Wow.
And, I know we've been here over an hour. All right, but. We've covered a lot. We're in really great shape, and we have a movie to talk about. Are you ready to talk about a movie?
I am ready to discuss a movie film. Yes, let's do it.
And are you ready to talk about a movie called Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire? To be clear.
Yes, I think I am. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Right. Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, as of now, is in theaters only. Movie was written by Gil Keenan and Jason Reitman, directed by Gil Keenan. It stars a lot of fucking people, and I'm going to say them all. And maybe it's because it relates to something I'm going to say about this movie later. There's a lot of fucking people in it. Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Kumail Nanjiani, Patton Oswalt, Celeste O'Connor, Logan Kim, Emily Allen Lind, James Acaster, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and William Atherton. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. So, do you want to start things off with a little bit of a spooky ghost bustin' box office breakdown?
Yes. Sounds like the best place to start. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is doing okay. Yes.
Yeah, I have something really important to tell you.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Bustin' makes me feel good.
Get out. Get out. Anyway, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is doing okay. I would say it's doing okay.
Okay.
So it came out in its first weekend. I believe it debuted at number 1. I fact-checked myself right now. Yeah, it came in, clocked at $45 million in its opening weekend, which was indeed good for number 1, beating out the likes of Dune Part 2, I think in its like 4th weekend or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that overall its debut was pretty good. I think the problem came after. I don't know that its legs have been amazing, and a little thing called Godzilla times Kong, the new Empire, kind of shredded it. And its second weekend, it dropped about 65% down, to $15 million in the number 2 slot. It's held, I think, relatively well, I think, since then. So its numbers right now, it's about $89 million domestically, about $138 million worldwide, and we're talking, I guess, close to 3 weeks, I guess, into its run, something like that, around that, I guess, overall. And sported a budget of about $100 million. So, it's at the end of the day, is it going to make a lot of money? No. Is it going to make any money for Sony? Maybe, you know what I mean? So it's not bad. It's not like a bomb, but it's not a rousing success either. Okay. You know what I mean? So yeah. And it's definitely been playing more well. It's definitely been playing better domestically than it has been internationally, but yeah, I don't know, it's a little Ghostbusters deal, So let's talk about it. Let's do some non-spoilers for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You have seen this more recently than myself. I saw it
many weeks ago.
I saw it close to opening weekend. I think we saw it the Wednesday after it came out. We didn't go opening weekend. We saw it, I think, the Wednesday, which was the last day that it was playing in Dolby before Godzilla and Kong
and you caught it in
over.
Dolby too.
I caught it in Dolby. Yeah, I got it in Dolby. So it did manage to do that. You were not so fortunate. You waited a bit too long for that, I imagine.
I had to slum it.
See it. Did you go to a nicer theater? Did you see it,
I saw it at
local rinky-dink?
The old movie co. is where I saw it.
Okay. Very good. All right. So, solid theater then.
Yeah, it was totally good. The nice thing about seeing a movie a little bit later is, there was like one other couple in the movie theater, and I sat up front and I got my chicken tenders and my...
You're far less likely to run into corn on the cob dipshits.
Absolutely.
And the like.
Yeah, so it was a pretty good viewing experience. I got to sit right up in the middle. First row, would put my feet up on that rail. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think we had, it's always something. It's always something when I go see a fucking movie. It's always something. I'm pretty sure when we got into this, it wasn't a full theater by any stretch of the imagination. It was a Wednesday night. But, there was one other group of people in our row. And of course, they were sitting in our seats and we're like, we booked these. Can you move? And 2 out of the 3 moved, and then the third person didn't move. I don't think they understood what was happening. Not really sure. So we just ended up seeing, we just went 2 to the right basically, and kind of were sort of in our seats, but not quite. And then they were very annoying throughout. They weren't talking so much or corn on the cobbing, but one person that didn't move was just burping regularly, loudly. And drumming on arm.
Where the fuck do you go to watch your movies, dude?
I don't know. I mean, we've shuffled theaters 17 different times at this point, and I swear we
try different times of the week. You try different times of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Wednesday night, or opening night for Dune is a sacred religious experience for everyone there, except for the 2 asshats, obviously, that pissed me the fuck off. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just every time I see, actually, not every time. I had some okay experiences recently beyond Ghostbusters. But every time we see something with Anna, something fucking goes wrong. Every time we go together, something gets fucked up. So, we sit next to some fucking Yahoo asshole. It's inevitable. I don't know why, but it is.
It's wild.
I don't know if it's a Northeast thing or what the fuck the deal is. But, this wasn't the worst. We've had much worse, but it was still like, there's just something. There's always a little something, You can never just have like a normal fucking theater experience. It's clearly impossible.
Asking too much.
But anyway, you had a good theater experience. Did you have a good movie-going experience? Did you enjoy the movie you watched? Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
So, I didn't recognize some of the characters. I'll start there. These kids age very quickly, it appears.
Well, it's been a few years since Afterlife, I think, was 2021, maybe. I think when that came out.
Yeah, so I guess
the ones that were younger definitely went through some growth spurts and some puberty. Some puberty.
Like I think the
well, I can say
I think
for
the
myself,
most notable for me, the biggest one was Podcast.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I hadn't realized that was a character from the other movie until they called him Podcast. I was like, oh shit, that's the same kid. Fuck.
But then I thought they replaced him. It's like, this isn't the same kid. I literally just had to IMDb him just to make sure he was in the previous movie because he looks so different. They didn't. It's the same guy. He's just growing up. He's growing up at an incredible rate. Yeah, it's remarkable. Anyways,
hey, get used to it. You're going to be seeing it before your very eyes.
I think
it's a little more gradual when it's your own child. It's not like going 3
so.
years between seeing someone. Yeah,
because like my baby, I still carry my baby, and he has a couple teeth now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or he's got more than a couple teeth. He's got almost a mouthful. He's like a little shark. But
pretty sharp.
Anyways, James Acaster, I think, is my. He was. I actually found like Paul Rudd was good. Okay, Paul Rudd's always good. So there was nothing really stand out in Paul Rudd's performance. I didn't think. I thought it was, Paul Rudd. He's awesome. He was funny. I thought I caught most of the funny bits in the trailer. I think there was. I think the trailer was a little revealing in its comedic chops. But one person who surprised me.
He was not really prominent in the trailers in the way that Paul Rudd was.
Right, it's James Acaster.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout out to his comedy special on Netflix. He's got like this 4-part comedy special.
Were you familiar with him prior to watching Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I saw 3 out of the 4 comedy specials, and then after I saw the next day after I went and saw Ghostbusters, I watched the 4th one. I think it was hysterical. I think he's hilarious. And I was like, "Holy shit, is that James Acaster?" And then come to find out, it was James Acaster. So that was a big surprise. Yeah. I didn't know he was in this. So that was cool. I thought we definitely had some teenage emotions in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, it just didn't. I think this movie is best when it's doing Ghostbuster shit.
Okay.
I'm talking about chasing ghosts. I'm talking about you're the Fire Lord. Just and he was okay too. He wasn't I didn't think he was awesome, but it was Ghostbustery. You know what I mean? At the very least. And I think
Keymaster sort of silly shit, but you get away with it.
You get away with it, right? Now. I think this movie is strongest when it's doing Ghostbuster stuff and not necessarily exploring like the family dynamic or the teenage drama. Like the teenage drama that's present in this movie, I didn't think it was super well executed. I didn't know exactly what they were going for.
Okay.
And so it kind of, because I didn't know exactly what they were going for, it wasn't quite on the nose. I got vibes, but I wasn't 100% sure. It kind of just left me kind of like, I don't know how to feel about it. So I didn't think that was executed as well as just the Ghostbuster stuff. Now, the Ghostbuster stuff I had a lot of fun with. I think it was a pretty cool, I thought it was a pretty fun, cool, interesting arc, and much of the same way that the first one was. I thought that the big
first
bad.
one being Afterlife, or the first one being the literal first Ghostbusters?
Afterlife.
Okay.
But this one kind of felt like old school in a way. Maybe it's because they're back in New York.
Yeah, I think the setting definitely makes it feel closer to the originals. Obviously, the original Ghostbusters, this isn't really a spoiler, are certainly more prominent in this movie than they were in Afterlife as well.
But you also have I feel like they're suited up from. Obviously, they're suited up from the get go. They got the car.
Right. It goes right into it. I mean, it starts with an opening ghost busting set piece. You know? Goes right into it. Afterlife was a lot of build up and what's this old piece of shit in the garage that's dusty and and it's like an hour before anything ghost busting really happens.
And that was cool how it kind of built up.
I mean, it's a legacy sequel, and it's like building this mythos of the Ghostbusters and then building back to the Ghostbusters being a regular thing. And then here you're just right into it, and it's very different, but I think that, I don't know, I think it maybe at least makes it more rewatchable or at least more enjoyable from the get-go because it's just a very different style of movie that this.
Much in the same way like Dune. Being. Dune didn't have to do any build-up, Yeah,
you just go right into it. The hard work's been done, right? The heavy lift has been accomplished. You don't need to fucking reestablish who the Ghostbusters are.
Tell your story, right? Exactly.
Yeah. We know that we know who Paul is. We can just get right into it. We don't know that much about the Fremen. That's for this movie to explore. For that movie to explore, not this one. There's no Fremen in this one, as far as I'm aware.
And what our listeners didn't know, this is really Dune Part 3. Dune 2 Part 3.
Yeah. We just can't help it. We just can't help ourselves. We're back.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm going to say the third time. Movie's strongest when it's doing Ghostbustery stuff. I think some of the other story beats, I think they were lost on me. I think overall it was a pleasant. I think I saw it on. God, where did I see it? I think I saw it on Wednesday or Thursday or something. I can't remember. I think I saw it Thursday.
Less than a week ago, roughly.
Less than a week ago, right. It was a pleasant thing to do after work. I went to left work and went over to the movie theater and sat down, watched a movie, went home. I was home by 9:30, and it's totally okay.
I'm sorry.
I also enjoyed AMC's new. The AMC's changed their intro thing up a little bit.
Yeah. What are you seeing in front of the movie?
So you got Nicole Kidman. It very much seems like I don't want to sound any particular way, but it's we had Nicole Kidman for a while, all right, and then we're gonna make a thing for we're gonna make a a black thing, and then we're gonna keep the white thing in there because we don't want to make people upset. So we're gonna keep Nicole Kidman in there after the fact.
So there's a thing with the black couple, right? That's before Nicole Kidman.
Yeah,
right?
it's instead of let's update the thing that we've been
they're dancing, and then they're in a movie or something, and then they're sitting in the seats,
which is totally fine. It's totally fine, but I don't need two AMC things. Get rid of Nicole Kidman. She's been there for 6 years.
Well, because they reconfigured the Nicole one. They updated, there's a version that has her watching Avatar 2 now
versus watching
versus Creed and Wonder Woman, know, and the other ones. And I think it's a little bit shorter. She doesn't give her full spiel. She just gives part of the spiel, So I don't know. But yeah, it's they cut Nicole slightly short so they could add this other thing, but it's all still a minute longer than it actually needs to be. Plus, if you're seeing it in Dolby or IMAX, then you're getting the Dolby and IMAX logos, treatment shit too. So.
Did you also get the whole new thing about the Hollywood Hills and stuff? Did you get that too?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember if I got that.
It's a whole thing before the trailers. I want to say it was before the trailers.
Oh, I very rarely, if ever, make it before the trailers have actually started. Because there's just so many. I'm I don't need to be here for 30 minutes before the movie. I'm going to have to pee before the movie actually starts.
Yeah, AMC and their bullshit. They got a lot of bullshit going on.
I got A-list, though. It's pretty much where I go for the most part. So it is what it is. I just take it as part of the cost. Is the Nicole
They do have the best
experience,
theaters. I mean, it's no...
Yeah, it's certainly around here anyway, yeah. All right, so sounds like you enjoyed it overall.
What did
maybe
you
not
think?
Maybe not the best movie. I enjoyed it overall myself. I thought it was very fun. I thought it was pretty breezy, pretty entertaining. I think kind of moved along fairly snappily. That I kind of always felt like engaged with it. Like I was never really bored with it. There was never really a moment where I thought, like I don't really need this. I mean, I should say that there are definitely some things in this where I'm like, oh, this movie could have been tightened up. I think there are I think there are things that could have been cut. I think this movie could have been even tighter, I guess, which maybe is just completely contradicting what I said a minute ago. But I think that this version as it is was still very fun and very entertaining. I think there's an even better version of this movie out there that maybe pulls back a little bit on it. Number one, and I'll just say these are my two major complaints that I'll probably get into more in spoilers. Number one, the amount of characters. Absurd. Too many fucking characters. And too little of them have anything to do. It's just they're there not really for any particular purpose, other than the fact that maybe they were in the last one, and so they're back for this one. Or obviously they're a legacy character, and so you're bringing back a legacy character, and obviously that's cool. You want to have the OG Ghostbusters around, obviously, surviving Ghostbusters around. Like I get it, fine. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of subplots. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on that maybe feels like maybe a hair too much. And then number two, I think there's a little bit of an over-reliance on nostalgia and, kind of playing the greatest hits, I think, for Ghostbusters, which I think you can get away with for one legacy sequel. I think Afterlife gets away with doing it. It gets away with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Mini-Men for a bit, and then you bring them back here, and it's like, well, they're not really here to service the plot in any way. You know what I mean? Like, they're here because it's a visual gag that they've repeated from the first one. And
they've already paid for the assets, is what it is.
Yeah, maybe it's just as simple as that. But if those were the two biggest things, it's just like, it's a little overstuffed. As a movie, it's a little overstuffed that I think you trim the fat a little bit, cut a character or two, or, combine a character or two, maybe remove one, like a little nostalgia subplot sort of thing. Maybe you get an hour, 40-minute movie that really, really zips along and is just nonstop good, Never great, but nonstop good. You know what I mean? I think is kind of where this film could operate. But at the end of the day, I mean, obviously it is what it is. And I enjoyed it. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I think the characters, although there are too many of them, are very fun. Paul Rudd's still number one for me. I'm sure that's no surprise for me to say. But I think he's hilarious. I think he's wonderful. I think he's very funny, obviously, but I think that his character obviously is very well-meaning and full of heart. And I feel like a lot of the characters are kind of that same way. Like, there's a lot of heart to these characters. And for the original Ghostbusters is obviously so much, like it was clear to me that Ghost Bustin is meaningful to the original Ghostbusters. It didn't really feel like they were here just for a paycheck sort of thing in terms of the actors reprising their roles. Maybe Bill Murray aside. Bill Murray is kind of always someone that I think when he pops up anything in the past decade feels like he's just taking a paycheck. Ant-Man probably being a very recent prominent example of, why are you here? Millions of dollars. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I think that the set pieces are pretty good. I liked the villain felt different from other Ghostbusters movies. I think that's a big thing is like, just don't do the same shit over and over again. I think that's a big thing with sequels is, for me, is keep it fresh, keep it exciting, keep it different. The reason I'm so excited about something like The Acolyte, to go back to that, is like, oh, this is different. And this is a
thing I love, but it's still different, right?
Yeah, like this is still very much Ghostbusters. I mean, double the Ghostbusters. You've got new Ghostbusters, you've got old Ghostbusters. But they're kind of, the reason that they're teaming up here is this fucking ice demon monster thing, which has its own set of lore and, and people in, societies that have opposed it or whatever in the past. And just like, I don't know, like I kind of felt like all of that was really cool and I liked that. I think that, it's a movie that still probably could have done a better job of realizing that concept. I think it didn't quite completely nail it, but I liked the idea of it. Even if the execution of it isn't quite there, I really liked the idea of a lot of this. And I think that's kind of just, maybe that's kind of my, maybe my final non-spoiler thought is, I like a lot of the ideas in this movie. I think it's close to doing them all really, really well, but I think at the end of the day, it just does them well. You know what I mean? Like it's good enough without taking it to the next level of what it could have been. And so your end result is something that's really fun, generally pretty breezy, again, if overstuffed, with a charming cast that kind of buoys it, anchors it, carries it forward. And when I didn't expect a lot going in. I expected to have a good time. I had fun with it, and I kind of walked out having fun with it. I wouldn't say it's the most memorable movie. I'm going to probably struggle in spoilers to be like, what happened? So we'll see. We'll see obviously how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. I had fun with it. So I guess that kind of just naturally brings us to recommendation, I think, at this point. No need to delay it any further. So would you say that the listeners should watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in theaters, watch it at home, wait till someone pays them to watch it? That's pretty dire. I don't know if you'd say that about this movie, but maybe you will. I don't know. It's your choice.
I would have been well serviced to watch this movie at home. Throw in some pizza bites with a little side sauce of like some hot sauce, to dip them in, and a cold brew. And I just tuck the baby down, just put him down, put him to sleep. And I'm going to turn on Ghostbusters. I'm in bed by 11:30. That's good. That's a good night.
Okay. Yeah.
Versus leave work, go to the movie theater, not see
work.
baby at all, go home, 9:30, go to bed. So anyways, that would have been, I would have been very well serviced to see this movie at home. It did not blow my socks off. It was fun. It was fun enough.
It was no Dune Part 2.
There was no Dune Part 2, and very few things are, so it's very important for myself
to hold things up to.
Right. I need to adjust my expectations.
It's the recent flag bearer, so everything gets the Dune Part 2 comparison until something can even like come close to cracking. Doesn't have to dethrone it. That may never happen this year. So, but yeah. I think I agree. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah,
I know it's not getting amazing reviews. I think it's better than some of the reviews are probably indicating. I think probably I agree with a lot of what the general consensus is. Like, I think it's somewhat of a messy film, but I had a lot of fun despite its flaws.
Sure.
But I do think at the end of the day, there's not enough spectacle or oomph behind it in general to me that it makes it, you must see this in theaters. Like, I saw this in theaters. I didn't regret seeing this in theaters. It doesn't sound like you did either, even if you would have preferred to.
Of course, right? No, it was a good experience. I don't want to.
But at the end of the day, I think that this movie probably plays just as well on the TV. Again, to tie on things, what I already said. Like, I want to see Alien Romulus in my pristine theater environment. I wanted to see Ghostbusters in this pristine theater environment too. I didn't quite get it. But I think that I could have also waited and watched it in a few months, and I don't think I would have lost out on a lot. We wouldn't have been able to record this episode, or at least I would have had to make up a lot of shit and pretend like I saw the movie.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think that I wouldn't have felt like I really screwed myself by not seeing it in theaters or something like that. So yeah, I would say also, you're fine to wait to see this at home. I think we can probably go with that as our consensus recommendation. Certainly, to me, it's one of those things. Now that we're 3 weeks in, if you haven't seen this in theaters, you probably don't need to. You know what I mean? Right. If that makes sense. Like, if you didn't bother to see this in the first 3 weeks that it came out, it's not going to be good enough that you need to go out of your way to do so. You can wait for it to come to streaming. You can wait for even VOD. It'd probably be fine. If you got a few people in the room watching it, I think that would be fun. I think it'd be a fun movie night.
It is a fun movie to watch with other people. I'm sure
it's a fun movie night that I think that you can wait a few months to have at home. So that, yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it on recommendation then. But we got to get into some full spoilers. But of course, so full spoilers for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You have anything you wanna get into right off the bat here?
I enjoyed the. I don't know how you feel about it, and I don't know what the consensus is on the internet, but I enjoyed.
I can tell you how I feel.
Expanded Ghostbuster stuff, right? Like the team of researchers exploring the James Acaster's like a Ghostbuster engineer.
Winston Zeddemore led, new Ghostbuster Corps or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's cool. It's kind of in a goofy way. It's expanding the team in a way.
Right. Yeah, doing something a little bit different than the traditional hanging out in the firehouse waiting for bad things to happen and responding. Although
it would appear in their misguided approach to research the paranormal, they almost end the world. They get prey.
Well, science comes at a cost. You gotta was it crack a few eggs to make an omelet or something?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, I mean, how could they have predicted that this orb thing that clearly had some sort of weird supernatural power was host to this weird fucked up ice
demon
thing, Who knew?
The other question, I have a question for you.
Demonic god. Demonic god is what Wikipedia calls Garaka.
Demonic god.
Yeah.
The question that I have for you is, was the chess-playing ghost a love interest, or was that a friend?
Ooh, yeah, I think it's ambiguous, right? I mean, I don't think it's made completely plain in this movie. I think it could certainly be read either way. I think I definitely got some romantic undertones myself, but again, I think that it's played subtly enough that you could certainly take it in either direction. If you're making a sequel to this movie and you're trying to figure out, well, I think that character's doesn't she? I think she's done. She turns into Stardust by the end, so she probably won't be back for Ghostbusters 3/5. But I think that certainly if you're talking about Phoebe's relationships with people in the future, if she's in a relationship with a woman in the future, I don't think it would surprise me based off of that. I think it certainly could build to that, and I don't think it has to be one way or another. I assume the intent was to kind of just leave it ambiguous enough. I don't think it's like a let's do it subtly enough that we don't piss people off sort of thing. Because that's the sort of thing that still pisses people off is, I don't want, gay shit in my Ghostbusters or whatever, which obviously is a fucking ridiculous thing to think. But I'm sure someone has had that thought out there. But yeah, I don't know. I think it works either way. I really think it works either way. It's either a friendship for someone who I think is kind of an awkward teen who doesn't really have true friends. She's got obviously her family, that she cares about and who care about her. But we've never really seen her have, I feel like, a real true friend in the way that Melody's the ghost character's name, becomes in this, and it feels like it's kind of the quintessential awkward teen thing. It like, oh, my best friend is a ghost. It just feels like a very sort of classic, I don't know, even 80s sort of thing in some sort of way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it is romantic, then it's like, well, it's a teenager, developing feelings or, finding who they are, like just like realizing like, oh, this is how I feel about this person. And, I don't care that they're
or apparition,
a woman
right?
or a ghost or an apparition, and like, so, yeah, I don't know. So I don't have an answer for you. I think the answer is could be either.
Okay. Well, then I guess I
don't know how you read it.
I read that the same. I was like, I can't tell what this is.
Yeah, I think it could be either. It's not explicit, and it didn't.
At the end of the day,
really
yeah, right, exactly. I guess it doesn't really need to be, but
I think that was the most unexpected plot for me in this whole movie. I think one that was very, perhaps deliberately excised from marketing materials.
I think it's perhaps the most unnecessary as well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. I thought it was interesting. I think that it's a good way to further Phoebe's character and have her have this sort of connection. I think that the very contrived way that it leads to this betrayal because, the ghost wants to go back to see her family, but she's trapped in this world or whatever, in that dimension that she's in, she can't leave. And so she has to serve this demonic god or whatever. Like that kind of all felt a little hokey to me.
Yeah.
I think the particular contrivances necessary to the point where Phoebe becomes a ghost so that she can interact with this ghost, But then because she does that, then she can use her own body to use the voice to speak the language that wakens the demon. That whole set of circumstances felt very scripty, like scripted.
Sure, yeah.
movie writing. Like, we need a thing to happen, so what's a way that we can get there? And it's like, felt like very first or second pass kind of version of that, where it's just like, I mean,
just have that trash monster get away with the thing.
Yeah, it just feels like there's maybe right. They have that fucking recording, and it's like, I don't know, play the fucking recording, like, I don't know. Like,
instead, what I felt like we got was
idea.
We got a half-baked relationship with a ghost.
Yeah, well, I think that the relationship itself was fine, but I think it almost would have played better if it. I mean, I think it is still earnest, but I think if you take away this whole betrayal element, I don't know. I mean, I just didn't think that was completely necessary.
Although it was cool to watch her, like, the second the ghost opened its eyes, and she was like, and she had like the blue ring around her eyes and stuff as a ghost, and then she's murmuring the like Evil Dead style. I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, oh shit, it's about to pop off, but it never.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally.
It never got. You remember the first time you saw Ghostbusters? I think it was the second Ghostbusters. You remember the second time you saw the first time you saw the second Ghostbusters?
First time I saw the second one. All right.
And like the eggs start popping in the refrigerator, and like it like zooms in on that creepy dude's face in the painting. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I saw that as a little kid, and it fucked me up, dude. I was scared.
You go the Carpathian, man.
Yeah. I was.
What once was shall be again.
Yes. I saw that as a little kid, fucked me up real bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was
child.
I was expecting this to. I was expecting this to get real freaking scary, right?
Yeah.
And it never happened. It never.
I think that's probably one of, maybe if I had to levy a third complaint, it takes way too long to get to the point that we knew it was going to get to, because that's what the teaser trailer was the world freezing over, these people on the beach definitely getting spiked to death by icicles. We don't see it, of course. It's PG-13.
Yeah, right. And I was expecting some Sub-Zero shit, but it never happened.
Some of those people were definitely getting fucked up. There's no doubt about it. But it's like an hour and like 20, 25 minutes before that even happens. And so you get this frozen over New York in July in the summer for like 15 minutes, for like 20 minutes. And that to me was a little underwhelming, because like shit really only hits the fan in the third act. And so you kind of naturally have to undo that so quickly that there's no real consequences for anything. And it's just not as cool as it could have been to be like
exploring New York as a frozen wasteland covered in ghosts.
Yeah. Right. Like Day After Tomorrow shit, like that could have been cool. Like, I know they did that in that movie, but this is Ghostbusters. Do it with a fucking Ghostbusters, overlay. Like, that would be neat. I just it took too long to get to that point. And you're filling that time with, the ghost relationship stuff or ghost friendship stuff or whatever. And I didn't think that was bad.
Ghost busting
perhaps better than you.
Far more interesting.
But it just kind of felt like there's a version of this movie that gets to that point way quicker and is a bit more interesting for it and does more interesting things with the runtime that it has. And instead, you're, to me, spending too much time with Podcast, who, guess what? Still fucking annoying. I don't care if he has a sledgehammer this time. Still fucking annoying. I don't care if he's a little older and looks a little different. Still fucking annoying.
Right.
And the other girl who is like, oh, I'm an intern for the new Ghostbusters. It's like, who are you? Like, I remember you were in the other movie.
Lucky? Was that her name? Lucky?
Yeah, Lucky. Yeah, it's like, fine. I'm not mad.
I don't remember her from the other movie. Was she in the other movie?
But like, she was. That's what I'm saying. It's just like they felt so compelled to bring back all these other characters. It's like, these characters didn't all need to be here. Like, this is in New York. Clearly, the new Ghostbusters operation has moved shop from Oklahoma to New York. Not every character has to come back. It's fine. Like, you didn't, they didn't bring back Louis Tully. They didn't bring him back, They didn't bring back Dana Barrett. They didn't bring back Sigourney, for this. So, like, they clearly were okay leaving some characters out, but others kind of, just kind of came and didn't really add anything. And I think that the new characters that they did bring in, like Kumail, obviously is ridiculous. He's over the top, being this, kind of loser character who doesn't really care, but then kind of has to find himself and like realize I'm a fire-bending master and like all right, like kind of fun. Patton Oswalt is in this, fun. He's a doctor. He's there to be Dr. Exposition, but it's Patton Oswalt, so it's fun. It's fine. It's all good. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels like you want to introduce a new, you want to do the new Ghostbusters core, then great. You get Ernie Hudson coming in that way. Then you can bring in James Acaster in that way, and I don't know. It just to me feels like there's just so many, like there's already 4 characters in this core group of the family. You got Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolf, Hardy McKenna Grace. You got all of them. And then you've got a whole set of another fucking regular Ghostbusters. And then you've got the new Ghostbusters. Then you've got the old Ghostbusters Afterlife crew. And then you've got a new ghost character. And you've got a new doctor character.
Army of Ghostbusters.
And you've got a new firebending character. And it's like, this is just so much going on for a sub 2-hour movie that it's really just too much at the end of the day. And then you're still finding time to bring in, Dickless is now the mayor. And it's like, okay, fine. Dickless is the mayor, okay. And you know what? He still sucks. He's still a jackass. He's still fucking with the Ghostbusters. And it's like, all right, fine. You get one nostalgia. But no, Slimer's here too. He's just eating ghosts, in the fucking attic, for the whole movie. And what else do we have? I feel like there's other...
The secretary, right? The secretary for the Ghostbusters?
She's back. But she suits up, oh, Melditz, like it was fine. It was fine. It was a little bit different, fine. But then it's like... I just had something else that came to mind, and I blanked on it already. This is the problem. the Stay Puft Marshmallow Men back. Again, no reason. They're there to have them die in horrific ways, which is like somewhat mildly entertaining. But again, we saw it. Saw it in the last one. Saw it in the last one a lot. I don't know. To me, there was just a lot of those little things of just being like, let's do that thing because it's a reference to old Ghostbusters. Oh, the library. They go to the library again.
Right, yeah.
What do you know? The librarian's there. And the library ghost is there. And it's like a cute little moment of Ray like looking at her, and then she does the thing again. It's like, all right, but it's like, how much is too much of all that?
Yeah.
Because the things that were interesting to me, like this movie starts, I think, with like a flashback sort of sequence setting up like
that was interesting. I enjoyed that.
Where they all get kind of frozen over. Like that was like intense and different and cool and shit like that, where I'm just like, I wanted more of that and less of just, and less of, Ghostbusters greatest hits. Like I said, it was just, it's a bridge too far. I think, Afterlife, you get away with a lot of that stuff because it's, properly bringing back Ghostbusters. I don't say that because, women Ghostbusters don't count. I'm just saying because they were really trying to make it a true sequel, but obviously decades in the future from where Ghostbusters 2 took it. I don't know. It just to me just kind of felt like they were trying to do too much in almost one thing, that it kind of lost itself a little bit in the shuffle as a result of all that. And I think, I'm just ranting at this point, but I'm going to keep ranting. The last thing is, you talk about those hype moments in Ghostbusters 2 and even Ghostbusters 1, the fucking dogs. They did that obviously in the last one, so they at least didn't do that here. They had the good sense to not do that. They mentioned it. It was mentioned in dialogue when it was funny. It was like, yeah, we turned into dogs that one time. It's crazy. We saved the world. It's like, that was funny. Like that's good humorous dialogue. But I felt like this one never really had a big memorable moment in the same way that you're talking about the fucking painting. And thinking about Ghostbusters 2, the Statue of Liberty, fucking piloting that shit. You know what I mean? That, Ghostbusters 1, Zool, and that whole showdown on the roof, the big Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
This one never really quite had that big moment. I think the closest thing to it is kind of, when shit freezes over in New York.
That was it.
But again, we saw that literally in the first marketing material we saw for this movie.
And that's not really a character like...
It's not like a big character, like crazy, like, oh, fuck sort of moment. It's just...
Oh, it's just weather patterns. Weather patterns causing giant icicles to come out of the ground.
Yeah, and if it was, the Ghostbusters doing something wacky to face off against Garaka, like that might be something. But like the end of the third act of this movie is everyone's shooting their proton packs, but none of them work, so they all get frozen, except for the one character who is like, yeah, but what if I use bronze and it works? And it does. And it's like, okay.
Oh, then you also had the Fire Master shooting fire
and
too.
And the Fire Master was fine. I like the Fire Master. I don't know. It just didn't quite have that level of something that really felt super, super memorable, as like a third act set piece. I think it was a little lackluster in that department because it takes too long to get going and then it doesn't quite deliver in the way that it could have.
Yeah, if you lingered around in New York City with this thing kicking ass all the time, make them like a,
Right. And I'm mostly spouting all my negativity here because I feel like it's almost just missed potential. You know what I mean? Like this is a movie that actually could have been really, like a really, really awesome Ghostbusters sequel.
Sure.
Like Ghostbusters 1 is great. Bill Murray is, definitely, his character has not aged well, with the benefit of time. If you go watch Ghostbusters 1, he's mostly just badgering Sigourney Weaver, and harassing her the whole fucking movie in a very inappropriate way. And, he's very inappropriately hitting on like young women, when he does his psychic tests and he fucking zaps the guy who keeps getting it right. But he's like, no, that's not it. I'm sorry. That shit, which I will appreciate. There was a great moment with Bill Murray in this one of when he's doing the tests with Kumail and he's just fucking with him,
throwing pins at his head.
Was very funny. Yeah. Just throwing shit at him. I felt like that was to me that was like, it's a throwback. It's nostalgic because it's kind of like the thing you saw, but you know what? It's just different enough that it plays like really funny and fresh.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, look at this thing. It's the thing you saw before. Isn't it still cool? And it's like, it was cooler last time, I think.
It was original at the very least.
Time. Yeah. Right. So that's, anyway, those are kind of my, throwing
spoilers and gripes.
Thoughts. Yeah. Letting it all loose. So anyway, you have anything in response? You have any other things you want to talk about? Spoilers? It's all yours now.
No, I think that's.
I feel like I've said a lot.
I think I enjoyed the expansion of the Ghostbuster the Ghostbuster universe. I do agree that the big bad and everything didn't seem like that big of a bad. I mean, he came and went fairly quickly.
I think he could have been. He just didn't seem to be in execution.
Yeah,
like I really like this thing. Like, I think the design was cool. Like the feel of everything was cool.
Yeah,
I just wish there was a little bit more to him. Whatever.
I was not a big fan of the
ghost ship.
The ghost ship. I think we could have we could have found another way, even if it was just exploring a relationship with like a real life person. I think that would have been fine too. But whatever. C'est la vie. I just think it was it's not the sum of its parts, and like you said, there's some missed opportunities in here, and overall I think it was fine. I think it was fun. I did laugh. I had a good time watching it. I don't want to sound like I'm down on it. It's just not as good as it could have been, I think like you said, I do think that there is a riot of a movie just below the surface of what we got, just need a little bit more refinement. Or maybe we got what we got because there was too much refinement. You know what I mean? I don't know. But either way, that's what we got, and it was totally okay.
Yeah. I had fun with it. I know I've said a lot of things that like a lot of the things I've said are basically this could have been better if it was done a little bit differently, not chuck this whole script in the bin, get rid of half the cast. Like, I think there's a way that this all kind of works as kind of originally intended with just a little bit of refinement is kind of how I feel about it. So I mean, I don't know if we'll get another one. I'd happily see another one of these with this cast, maybe scrap podcasts in the future. Sorry, kid, but I think I like a lot of the ideas, new Ghostbusters, old Ghostbusters working together or whatever you want to do. Like, I think it's clear to me, like Dan Aykroyd's having a lot of fun here. Ernie Hudson's having a lot of fun here. And I got to say, Ernie Hudson, 78 years old, looks incredible.
Oh yeah. Killing
Sorry,
it.
Kevin Costner, move over. Ernie Hudson, man, black don't crack. You know, it's fucking true. All right, dude looks incredible. Just mind blowing. Yeah, I would like to see more. I would be happy to see more. I'm not going to lose sleep if we don't see more, you know, at the same time. But I think that this is a movie that's fun enough, you know, and, you know, it just feels like a kind of, I don't know, typical Sony sort of thing where it's just like, yeah, maybe just give it a little more time in the cooker. You know, if you're going to make a third one in this particular, you know, saga, you know, don't rush it out. You know, give it a little more time. Give it a Batman the Part 2, you know, sort of delay. Give it another year if you need it to figure it out. Let it all work, you know. So we'll see. But if this is it, I think it ends in a good enough place where it's like, you know, these characters are all left in good places, you know, and it's all good. It wouldn't feel unsatisfying, I think, as a finale to the Ghostbusters franchise if it ends up being that way. I don't think it's designed to be, but I think it would be fine as that if it needed to be. So, you know, in the same way that Ghostbusters 2 ended in a way that it's just like, well, you know, life just keeps going on, you know? So,
yeah,
it is what it is. So yeah, all right. I think that'll do it then for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. What do you think?
I think that's it. Moving on.
All right. We still have time to do some other stuff, right?
Yeah.
We're not doing too bad. Not doing too bad here. How about a listener's corner?
Whoa.
This is a long time coming. There's some stuff in here that's going to go back a ways. So I apologize to the listener who participated in the listener's corner on many, many occasions. It's probably listened to 3-4 episodes now thinking, this is my time to shine. Your time to shine has arrived, finally. So Mr. Bruce Brown, who else, has chimed in on a few things. Talking about a few things.
All right.
So let me tell you about him. So going all the way back to mid-February when he emailed in to talk about True Detective Night Country.
Okay.
Which came out earlier this year, 6 episodes. It finished up. Really, really polarizing show, I will say, before I get into his thoughts. Good critic reviews. Every response I've seen online says it's bad, and I don't understand the disparity. But let's hear from Mr. Brown, Mr. Bruce Brown, who says, he's chiming in, crap. It is boring, makes no sense, rambles on forever, goes into the supernatural versus a real detective theme. Jodie Foster is very good. Kaylee Reese, don't get that character at all. Apparently the last finale just dropped, so I'll have to suffer through the end of it. I have talked to him since the finale dropped, and I don't think that it changed his mind. If anything,
okay.
I think it solidified his thoughts on the show overall. So yeah. So anyway, True Detective Night Country, maybe not so good, or maybe really good if you're a critic. I don't really know how to feel.
But if you're Bruce Brown, it's crap.
If you're Bruce Brown, it's crap. That's for sure. Funnily enough, I haven't watched any of it in a long, long time at this point, but I did watch the first 2 episodes like a month and a half ago. And I thought that they were fine. I thought that the mystery it set up was pretty interesting. So my guess is that the resolution to that mystery is not satisfying. And what I've also gathered is that the investigation is very meandering. Like it takes a long time to accomplish very little. And it's just, didn't, like, it's 6 episodes. It's not very long as a TV show, but for some reason it still feels like really stretched out, I guess.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm like half curious to do it, but then I'm like, well, I could also do other things with my time, that I might,
right.
Find more enjoyment in. So we'll see. But 1/3 of the way through it, I thought it was fine. I thought it was like pretty good overall. Like not amazing, better than True Detective Season 2 territory, which is a low bar, obviously not anywhere close to Season 1. The interesting thing I did notice is that it's intended to be like pseudo connected to Season 1, which is something I didn't realize going in. So
I don't know how they pull that off.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to say subtle necessarily, but I think it's not important that you know Season 1, but if you have seen it, then you'll like recognize like, oh shit, that is, connected in this particular way sort of thing. Like I think it's mostly...
But it's no like Mayor of Easttown.
No, certainly not.
Okay.
But hey, Mr. Brown, you're going to get more True Detective. Season 5 is happening over at HBO. Just figured I'd let you know here. Might as well plug in some extra news. Issa Lopez, who created Night Country, is going to be back with a new deal to develop the 5th season of True Detective. So, maybe she'll get a second crack at it, and maybe you'll like it a little bit more. Who's to say? Yeah. But anyway, we're getting more True Detective, so say it's happening. All right. Let's see. Other things from Mr. Brown. This was something he wrote in after we did our year in review episode, also in February, or at least when the Patreon version of that came out. I guess I don't know if our regular version of it would have been out quite by that point. But things that he wrote in about include the episode itself, which he says was great. Always the one he looks forward to. No major disagreements, but great job. We appreciate that. We like some pat on our backs.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Appreciate that.
Loki season 2 he watched. He says he thought season 1 was good, not great, but had a hard time following. Tried season 2, not expecting much. Wanted to dislike it. I mean, just lean into it. It's fine. But he said he found it quite entertaining. Moved fast. Good characters. Easy to follow. Thought there wasn't much quote unquote Loki in it. And that it could have just been anyone, not necessarily a Norse god, which I guess is kind of true. He's not really doing Norse god things. But he was glad to see, spoilers, I guess, at this point for a show that's, pretty old, not super old, but, old enough.
Relatively speaking. Right.
Don't necessarily need to be claimed at this point, but I will just in case. He was glad to see Loki back in Loki garb at the end. And a real shift in character from the early Thor movies and overall quite entertaining, which, yeah, agreed. Only Murders in the Building, he says, we missed this in our TV show countdown, which is true. We missed it, and the reason we missed it is because I don't think either of us have seen it.
Yeah.
But he says every season, up to 3 now, have been excellent, funny, excellent acting, moves nicely, good suspense. Steve Martin is excellent in this, highly recommended. I believe Anna has watched the first 2 seasons and really likes it. So I would like to give this show a watch at some point.
Only Murders in the Building.
Only Murders in the Building. I as I recall, it is streaming on Hulu, and I think 3 seasons are up now, if I'm not mistaken. It's Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. I think are the 3 leads. I'll come back to the next thing he said. The last thing he told me, Apple TV with Jennifer Garner and Jamie from Game of Thrones. He says he liked it. And he says it has Jennifer Garner in it, so he liked it before he started watching it. Methinks someone has a crush. But he says it was entertaining, kept you guessing, moved at a good pace. Ending wasn't stellar, but still a good, quick watch. I was trying to figure out if this was a movie or a TV show. It looks like it's a TV show with Jennifer Garner and Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who is indeed Jamie from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So there's that. And then it was very funny. He said he hadn't watched The Flash, but he was going to give it a shot. The Flash, of course, being the Ezra Miller Flash movie. And he said, I heard your reviews. I know it's shit. I want to experience it just to confirm it is shit. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I think this dude has already watched The Flash, and literally sent in thoughts on the listener's corner about how it was so bad. And I dug into our inbox and found it, and reminded him of the horrors of watching The Flash. I said, let me know if it's any better on a second viewing. He said, I kind of had a vague memory of the Michael Keaton Batman and the Nicolas Cage Superman, and thought about it and decided it must have been a YouTube clip. And he said, you saved 2.5 hours of my life. Thank you. I must have been drunk watching this. My review was a bit scathing. I owe you. Thanks. So he did not go in for a second viewing, as it turns out, which is, the
good for him. Good save.
Yes.
We've done our job.
Other things. Ricky Stanicky over on Amazon Prime Video. Zac Efron and John Cena. He says John Cena is awesomely funny. Good sub 2-hour movie, some good laughs, and a nice ending. Won't win any awards, but it was pretty fun. I saw a trailer for this a while back. I thought it looked like fine. I don't know if you've seen anything on this. It's like Zac Efron and like 3 friends. They're all married, but like, sometimes they'll get together and like do things and hang out and stuff, and then they have to like, tell their wives like why they're doing it and why they're missing out on like, events in their life. And it's like, oh, it's because we're doing it with Ricky Stanicky. He's this made up person that they've all concocted as an excuse to like go do things.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And then I think one of them calls everyone out like, who is this Ricky Stanicky? We've never met him. We don't think he exists or something like that. So they come up with a brilliant idea of hiring someone to play Ricky Stanicky.
Bring in John Cena.
John Cena is like a washed up actor or something like that. So they hire him.
That sounds like a pretty cool.
Which I think is a funny concept.
Yeah.
John Cena, I think, we talked about him a bit, obviously, last episode with his little Oscars naked bit. I think he's very funny. I got to say, I wasn't a big fan of the thumb for a while, but I like John Cena pretty well. I think he's pretty funny. I think he's a pretty funny guy. I think he's like in that almost sort of Channing Tatum sphere where it's just don't do serious shit. When you're doing the Marine and all that shit, like, nah, man, you don't like your proportions alone are comical. You have to lean into that. Like just embrace how ridiculous of a person you are, and you're better off for it. And I think he's done that, like Peacemaker and I don't know, all the other stuff. It's good. I like John Cena. Cena.
Transformers, Bumblebee.
Yeah, Bumblebee. He was good in that. I mean, he was like silly in that. Because it was he was serious, but still a little silly because it was.
He was over the top.
Transformers. Right. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Deception over on Max. Final season apparently wrapped up for it. He calls it a great show. Last season says was getting a bit old with family drama, but it's over. Excellent acting, funny, keeps you guessing, moves fast, great plot twists. I have no idea what this show is. But
I've heard of this show. Deception.
I've heard of the word deception. I can say that for sure. Let me just find a little bit on this show, just because I'm curious about it. You
don't recall, huh? Never heard of it?
Yeah, I think I see that there's a 2018 show or a 2013. No, that's a soap opera. It's probably not the soap opera. Yeah, I think there's a 2018 show called Deception. So I wonder if that's what he's talking about. I'm actually not sure. I don't know. I can't see anything that's like super recent, but maybe you can clarify that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But hey, there's a show called Deception that he liked, and I can certainly tell you that much. And then finally, last entries on the listener's corner. 2 separate emails, before Roadhouse and after Roadhouse.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched it, but it did come out on Prime as well. So he said he watched the original first. And I guess it's the Patrick Swayze one, right? Is the original?
Yeah, for sure.
He said, "Good Godmother, it's awful." I've never seen the original, to be fair, so I don't know if "Good Godmother, it's awful" is the right way of putting it. But then he said, "Taking the plunge on the new one, reviews are shit." And then he chimes back in. It actually wasn't that bad. This is the new one we're talking about. The original is so bad that this one seems to be better. ... Right up until Conor McGregor comes on the scene. Over the top, ridiculous, just plain old stupid. Except for him, though, entertaining enough, different enough from the original. So there you have it. Both old Roadhouse and new Roadhouse thoughts from one Bruce Brown.
Okay.
So there you have it. A little listener's corner action. Now we're caught up on the listener's corner. So maybe this is a good time to remind people if they want to be part of that little section that you just heard. Send your thoughts our way. Watch, review, repeat at gmail.com. And if you can't remember that, we'll tell you it again at the end of the episode. So, or go to the website and find a link there. Click on the little letter, a little envelope, a little shape thing. That can get you in the right place. But now we must turn our attention to what the hell we've been up to lately.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been talking for a bit. I'm going to kick it to you. It's been probably close to a month since we've had a proper chance to catch up, and we did it with Dune Part 2, but that was many hours into a long conversation in which many drinks were consumed, and we were probably a little bit toasty to say the least. So yeah, we're a little bit more clear of mind now.
Yeah,
one might say. So what have you been up to that you want to talk about right now?
Well, it's been, like you said, it's been a great many days since we've caught up. It's been pretty eventful over here.
Okay. All right.
The shingles of my roof have been ripped off.
Oh,
and
wow, okay.
I now have a new roof over our head.
Wow.
So that's cool.
Okay.
It's done. I also went from a green eye to an eye that's molded for my face. It is brown. I have a brown eye that very much resembles my real eye. It needs to be a little worked on a little bit. There's an air pocket in the iris. The guy said that he's going to pop out. So that's cool.
Okay.
Right. There is, I have limited movement in it. I can't move it to the right hardly at all. So I hope that he can fix that. But just staring in one spot, it looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, definitely a noticeable improvement over the original fucked up eye.
That's right.
That has now been removed and out of there for a couple months now, I guess, right?
And the green one that didn't fit
and then your
periodically
temporary let's put something in there just so you have something in there eye, and now you got the real deal basically.
Yeah, I don't have hardly have any eye goop, which is cool. The green one was causing my eye to goop up a lot, but so that's done.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, because wasn't quite the right fit. I guess
it wasn't the right fit, and apparently it's just like the material was like, because it's the age of the prosthetic. It was like the material was like irritating the inside of my eye. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, new eye. So that's cool. I go back on Thursday, which is in 2 days, for some minor adjustments. So that's cool. We've at work. You may know we had reduced our faculty. We have since brought in one of the two people. They're back. I now have every other weekend off, which is nice. It's more weekends than I had before, so that's good.
Nice.
And I've taken over, as well as like doing my other duties. I've pretty much facilitated the position of office manager. So that's, I'm doing all the paperwork, splitting the deals and this and that. So I am less in front of everybody, more in the background, which is exactly where I want to be. So it's, it's definitely nice. It's
the place to be.
I've also streamlined a lot of the processes. I got us a new printer. I got us a badass scanner. I bought a shit ton of flash drives. We're moving to the digital era. I'm streamlining a lot of the processes that I have to do. So that's cool, nice. Exciting, new projects. It's always fun. Bennett's got a lot of teeth coming in. So he's got like
shark teeth.
He's got like he's got like 4 teeth on the bottom. And he's got like a row of teeth coming in from the top, and he's miserable. He's absolutely miserable. With his little teethers.
No.
But he's eating all sorts of foods and stuff, so that's cool. He's a chatty Cathy. He's talking a lot. Yeah. So it kind of still says
as he evolved beyond.
Yeah, he says bah and blah, 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 like he just like makes like random noises. But what's cool is like you can go blah 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 and he'll go blah 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 blah. We just kind of like just
it's your own secret language.
Exactly. Yeah. He knows what I mean. Have I talked about Bluey on this podcast?
I feel like it came up, but I can't remember. I think you've talked about it at least a little bit, but I'm not sure how extensively. So.
Okay, I'm just telling you that if you haven't seen Bluey, like if in the day that you finish your X-Men and like you're looking for like a laundry show, just fucking throw on Bluey, dude. Some good like I tried to share an episode, but I can't figure out how to share an episode on the Disney Plus app.
I have my own child before I go in on Bluey.
Yeah, they're like fucking 8 minutes long, They're real bite-sized little things, but some of them are like he tries to teach the girls how to play the dad. He tries to teach the girls Bingo and Bluey how to play chess, Mm-hmm. Oh, man, one of the best episodes. So good. And this is another episode where both of these are in season 3. But it's called Pass the Parcel is it's what's called in Bluey, but like you wrap up a gift and you pass it around like hot potato and you take off a layer of wrapping paper to see if you got anything in there. Well, anyways, it's Pass the Parcel and they take this the mom of one of the kids, she's wrapping up the things, and the dad's like, why do you put in multiple presents in each layer, And she's like, well, everybody has to have a gift. Everybody has to get, a little something. And he's like, oh, I can't remember what he says. Fuck. I was telling the story and I can't remember it. Squibs. We're raising a generation of squibs, it's like a total participation trophy bitch,
Okay. Yeah.
And, anyway, so that was a really funny episode. They're all so good. The music's so well done. It's just tour de force little fucking cartoon. It's awesome. Love Bluey. Speaking of cartoons, I did not finish the old school X-Men. I dove right into X-Men 97 though.
Just went right in. Okay. All right. And?
It's total fucking banger, dude. It's awesome.
Okay. I wasn't sure because the animation style is like evoking the original, but like very clearly different and a little more modern.
But it's like an elitist situation, I think. To where it's
2 minutes in, you're fine.
Yeah,
you get it
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what they're going for. But the sound, the animation, and just the way the shit's written. Don't even get me started on that. Sarah says that's the worst thing. I can't stand it when I hear that because I just like fucking jam it up and turn it up.
That's my ringtone. She's not gonna like me very much. I'm gonna keep my phone on loud next time I see you guys.
Just pocket dial you. But yeah. Oh man, awesome song. Just like I said, the way it's written so good. Like awesome show. They did a very good job.
Up to date on it? As of
no,
recording,
I think I'm like two. I've seen like the first 3 episodes. I think I just try to catch it in spurts.
Yeah, I didn't say, especially because it's not going to be done for another month or so. So if you get too far ahead, then you have to wait.
Same thing with Bad Batch. I've been trying to watch some Bad Batch. So I thought that I had finished season 2 of Bad Batch. That was not the case. So I was like halfway through Bad Batch. So I'm continuing where I left off, and because it's like the Clone Wars kind of deal where like there's like 2 episode arc or 3 episodes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't go back, but I'm just continuing where I left off when I can. So I'm still not into season 3, but I'm getting very close, and it is very good. Very good show. Another good show that I'm catching, like in generally 2 episode chunks, is Shogun. Yeah. I'm not up to date, but holy shit. I do think if you finish it up, it's probably worthy of an episode.
That's my hope is to have it I hope to be done with it by the time that the finale airs. I am 3 in. I think you're probably a little bit further, I'm guessing.
I think so. I think I'm a little bit further. But maybe only an episode or maybe 2. I don't know how many episodes there's going to be.
There's going to be 10 total for the season, and I think as of recording, I think maybe 7. I think maybe 7 have aired. So
yeah, I think I'm on episode 5.
I think we have like 2 or 3 more weeks before it wraps up.
Yeah. So, but I never catch the episode the day of the release. I'm always because I still don't know what episode what day it comes out on. I just pop
I don't either.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Friday? Actually, I don't know. I got a 1 in 7 chance I'll be right. But
right. Yeah. So that's I pop up in there. Oh, there's 2 episodes, and I try to watch 2, and sometimes I do watch 2, but sometimes I only watch 1 because I'm tired, and so I'm just catching it as it comes along. But it's definitely been a fun ride. James Acaster, the Netflix special is Reportoire. It's each one's like roughly, I think, like 45 minutes to an hour. If you just want to watch a little stand-up comedy, have a drink with dinner or something like that, it's I think it's wicked fun. I really connected with his sense of humor, and I thought it was hilarious. American Idol is back on, and we are in the full swing of Idol season. It's always good fun every Sunday and Monday.
We're still in auditions at this point. Where
no, so we're down to the 24.
Okay,
and next Sunday is gonna bring it back down to 12. I think. It was they just played in Hawaii, so there's some really talented people this year though, for sure.
Okay, all right.
I always enjoy me some Idol. We have been. I've fallen hard for Magic the Gathering. Very, very hard. I'm sure I've talked about this.
Harder than you already have, or is just continuing?
It's just continuing. Yeah, it's just it's a continuing problem. It's turned into a full-fledged addiction at this point, I think. I have a good day. I reward myself by stopping at the game shop.
The first step is always admitting it,
Yeah.
So.
I've only still played a handful of times, but I now have 3 decks constructed, and I still have cards that haven't gone into my archive of things, and constantly tweaking, and it's just like a whole thing. But it's good fun too, and it's kind of like cathartic, just like reading a card, okay, and then like putting it in my thing, and then so I don't know, it's kind of relaxing, I guess. But fun game to play with other people that know how to play. Although I get my ass kicked almost all the time because I don't know how to play very well. But we're learning.
Practice makes perfect.
Sarah and I have been watching a very, very little show called Grey's Anatomy. We are in season.
Oh boy!
At the tail end of season 2 out of 23. I think
got a long way to go. They just renewed it too. More headlines.
It is. It's so funny because we're in season 2, and then during American Idol, Grey, the lady that plays Grey, I don't know, Meredith Grey. I don't know who she is. I don't know the actress's name. She pops up. I'm like, God, is that Meredith? Is that Grey?
She's so old.
She's old. She's aged like 30 years or whatever.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if the show remains as good once this core cast is kind of like gone.
I feel like usually the answer is it does not. I mean, for every show, like once you kind of bust up what made it work in the first place, it's not really the same show anymore. I can't speak to it personally. I think Anna's probably the Grey's expert in the household. I think she watched at least the first 10 or so, but
okay.
I feel like she bailed at a certain point too. I don't know when that was, but
well, we're not at the point of bailing yet. It's still pretty good. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's funny. The core cast is
good medical procedural. We were on the ER train for a good while there. I think we kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's cool too. I can talk to our Marvel expert. I call him and talk shop all the time now.
Yeah, you're basically a doctor too.
Exactly. So. I watch Grey's. That's what I told the day of my surgery. I actually told him I'm laying there on the bed before they put me under. It's like, I know what all this shit is because I've been watching Grey's, and then they're like, I just thought I was an idiot, but that's okay.
Can't wait to put this guy under him and fucking ruin his life.
I too watched a little movie on Easter called Roadhouse.
All right. Well, maybe you're more of a Conor McGregor fan than Mr. Bruce Brown.
I thought it was absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, we knew that from the trailer. He was going to be fucking absurd.
Yeah. Bonkers. That was totally okay. It was whatever.
Hey, you got to watch it at home, right?
I did get to watch it at home, and it was
something.
totally fine to just sit there and drink a beer and watch Roadhouse. I thought it was fine,
Right.
There's some cool action in it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor walking around town naked fighting people is pretty wild.
I don't know if that was in the trailer.
He beats some guy up and like steals his clothes. It was very Terminator-esque.
It feels very Terminator. That just from that description alone, yeah.
And that's it. That's I think that's okay. That's all I can think of. It's all I really. Busch Gardens. We go to Busch Gardens frequently, so that's cool.
Haven't heard about it in a little while, but yeah, good to know you're getting some use out of those passes.
That's right. I think that's about it. What have you been up to, dude?
I have been up to a bit. I been holding it in obviously for a while now. So I'm just gonna try to go through this list, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. I won't try to get too bogged down with any one of these things, but I think the first thing I have to mention is I saw Dune Part 2 for a second time. Ooh. And this is going back a ways, but I saw Dune Part 2 in IMAX 70 millimeter.
Oh, man.
I took a day off from work. I made a whole plan around, basically going to see this. It's playing up in King of Prussia, which is like a 45-minute drive from Philly. I saw it in 70 millimeter because I was like, I need to see it again. Number one, because I want to see it again. Number two, because I want to not have, the experience of having two assholes ruining my, first 40 minutes happen again. And number three, because I'm like, I want to see it in fucking IMAX. I saw it in Dolby the first go around. I want to see it in IMAX. Might as well do it in 70 millimeter. Go for the whole, legit fucking thing. And, much like, it's a religious experience. I mean, it really is. I mean, you saw it in IMAX. I mean, it wasn't 70 millimeter, I don't think, with Orlando or anything like that. But it's a legit IMAX, and it's still incredible. In 70 millimeter, you do get the different aspect ratio, which I think really, just the size of everything just enhances the already grand and magnificent scale of that film. But it's just really next level. It was jarring. It's you talk about the Alita thing. The first 5 minutes of this, I'm like, is this too big? I was like, their faces are so tall, right? Everyone's face is so tall. And it's like, can I follow this? Is this going to be really hard to just lock in? And the answer is no. The answer was no. You just give it a bit of time and you sink right in and you just get sucked in, as one does when they watch Dune Part 2. And the IMAX experience was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think I probably actually liked seeing it in Dolby first because I feel like it's a lot easier to track everything. You know what I mean? Because you kind of have everything in your full field of vision. It's not like watching in a dome where you got to look left and right, but it's a lot of visual information for your brain to process. And it's a little easier, I think, for your brain to process when it's at least seen it once before. So I kind of liked how I did it. I saw it on a weekday as well, which I think helped because it was a crowded theater, but it wasn't an absurdly crowded theater. As I recall, people were pretty respectful because Anna wasn't there, so everyone was nice and good. But yeah, it was awesome seeing it in IMAX. And on that front, it's coming back to IMAX. It's a good chance to plug it.
Oh, man.
Coming back to IMAX April 19th. So Civil War is coming out this upcoming weekend. So again, might probably already be out. That's going to play in IMAX for a week, and then Dune's back in IMAX, taking over the IMAX screens. So
good opportunity to go back. Yeah,
for those listening, I don't know if you yourself will obviously have a chance to make your way back to Orlando or anything like that. That might be a bridge too far. I guess you could do a IMAX potentially if you wanted to keep it a little closer to home, but throwing it out there for anyone
that's pretty
interested,
cool.
maybe missed out. It kind of worked out. I didn't get a chance to talk about my IMAX experience until now, but hey, if hearing, it's been a month or so since I watched Dune Part 2, maybe seeing it in IMAX would be great. I definitely recommend and encourage everyone to do so. It would be awesome. But beyond that, I've been taking a lot of advantage of my AMC A-List subscription, which I haven't done for a while. I usually see the big ones, once or twice when they come out, but I haven't spent a lot of time at the theater, again, probably because every time I go, it's something or another.
Yeah.
But I have seen Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, and I have to say, it is a ridiculous fucking movie. I had a blast with it.
Okay.
It's not good. It's not great. It's exactly as advertised, and I think you either know that you're gonna, if you are gonna enjoy it or not. It's very in the same vein as Godzilla vs. Kong. I think for anyone that watched that, it's got the same sort of silliness, maybe even a step beyond, where the writing is just the dumbest fucking bullshit possible. It's absurdly fucking stupid. The Hollow Earth is fucking stupid. There's a Hollow Earth within the Hollow Earth.
What?
Yeah, yo, dog, I heard you like Hollow Earth, so I built a Hollow Earth inside your Hollow Earth. And it's
There's a Hollow Earth inside the Hollow Earth?
Yeah, because that's where the big bad evil Kong is lurking, so he's got to be hanging out in Hollow Earth.
This is the red one where he gets his tooth knocked out, right? The red monkey?
Yes. And I'm trying to remember. It's like the Skull King, maybe, I think is maybe the character's name. I can't remember.
Okay. All right.
But and I'll say mild spoilers for Godzilla x Kong, and also who cares? You shouldn't care if you've seen. It's another example. This movie's been out for 2 weeks. If you cared enough, you would have seen it already. Seen it.
Yeah, right.
The Skull King has imprisoned a Titan, an ice Titan, who is like a sort of Godzilla equivalent, so that we get this great shot, which I think is in some of the marketing materials, maybe some of the later trailers or TV spots, where Kong is like on Godzilla's shoulder, and Godzilla is charging across the Skull King or whatever his fucking name is, who's riding on this ice titan, who's like a lizard kind of thing, like Godzilla-esque. And you get this big like slow-mo shot that slows down as they're like, towards each other.
Oh yeah,
Really
yeah.
Really good stuff. Also, the best moment in the entire movie, which is not spoiled by marketing material, and I'm going to tell you because it may actually sell you on the whole movie itself. Remember Baby Kong? Remember that little Baby Kong?
Yeah.
From the trailer? Yeah, it turns out there's a scene where King Kong gets into a little bit of a scuffle with Baby Kong and some of his compatriots, and King Kong picks up Baby Kong and uses him as a fucking battering ram and just beats the shit out of other apes with little Baby Kong. It's awesome. So anyway, if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what will.
Does Baby Kong live to this experience? He just didn't
Baby Kong is fine. Baby Kong does stick around after that point. He is humbled. He's humbled by his experience of getting used as a fucking blunt instrument that beats the fuck out of his friends, and is humbled. It's
that's a lesson learned for Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Grab
Don't
by
fuck
his
with me.
leg.
We'll beat other people up with you. It's great. It's very good stuff. Godzilla uses the Coliseum as a dog bed. Those are the sorts of things that you can expect to see in a Godzilla times Kong the New Empire, which is to say, absolutely ridiculous. I think that unless you walk in knowing this is going to be a Fast and Furious style movie, you're not going to like it. But you got to expect that. You got to know, and if you go into Fast and Furious expecting the first Fast and Furious movie again, street racing,
sure,
fairly normal DVD stealing sorts of things, you're in the wrong place. You know what I mean? And Godzilla has just like this franchise has gone that way.
This isn't Godzilla -1 anymore. This
correct.
is something.
If you want legit Godzilla, actual terror of like nuclear threats and big kaiju monsters, you turn to Japan for that sort of stuff. They got that down. They got Shin Godzilla. They got Godzilla -1 for your comforts. You want absurd Fast and Furious styled Godzilla monster movies and Kong monster movies, Godzilla times Kong is there for you. So that's my recommendation for it. Had a fun with it. It's not a good movie, but I had a blast. So yeah. New movies I've watched. Late Night with the Devil is another one I watched. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
No.
It's a horror movie that is a found footage kind of horror movie where basically the whole movie is filmed in the style of a late night TV show, like a late night.
Ooh, that sounds terrifying.
Like a Jimmy Kimmel or a Jimmy Fallon or another Jimmy. Maybe there's another Jimmy that we could be naming. Seth Meyers, Johnny Carson, that sort of thing. It's David Desmalchin who plays the late night host, the talk show host. And it's a very breezy sort of movie. Like it's really cool. Like the concept I think is very original and very unique. Desmalchin I think is very good in it. And it's kind of like, he's trying to get his program's ratings to be better, to beat like Johnny Carson or something like that. Like it's presented as if it's a show from the 70s, I think.
Okay.
And so, shit goes off the deep end where, you're talking demons, exorcism, shit like that, like shit along those lines, and the kind of things you'd expect to see in that sort of subject matter. And it gets pretty out there. It gets pretty wild, pretty wacky. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it was getting a lot of really good reviews. There's a little bit of controversy because they used AI art as like kind of interstitials in the movie. Where like, we'll be right back. They used like AI art for stuff like that.
Okay.
Which is like unnecessary, I think, at the end of the day, is kind of my personal feelings on it. Like, it doesn't ruin the movie, and I know a lot of people are like, I'm not seeing this movie now. And it's like, you do you. It is what it is. I think the biggest problem with AI art is that AI art, like the generators usually steal art to generate art. I think that's the biggest problem. It's not the actual AI itself. It's the fact that the source that the AI is using is shit that people, worked on for hours and are not getting, rewarded for in any way. And I think, a lot of the usual AI end products are like kind of fucked up looking, like I don't know if you saw the Willy Wonka experience they did with, it was all like a bunch of AI shit. It was like some huge, like big scam, I think in Scotland, maybe. I can't remember exactly where, But like they advertised this website, it was like a bunch of AI generated materials where like even like they didn't even bother fixing like the words being misspelled and shit because AI doesn't know how to spell. And once upon a time, you had a little fun with AI art doing like Spider-Man shit, but you know you got to work around the things so it's not copyright infringement sorts of thing. But it's definitely still stealing material to generate all that stuff.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, they did it for like these 3 images in this movie, and I'm like, you couldn't just hire someone like to just do this exact thing but better, because it's like a skeleton with like 90 ribs and like fucked up hands, and it's like little shit like that, and it's just like that was created by AI, and like they didn't deny it. They're like we're like using this, like experimenting with this, blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, I guess fine, but like you didn't need to do that. If anything, you're not bringing good attention. You mean like all negative, or all negative publicity is good publicity, or whatever the phrase is. Like, it's not exactly that, but like they could have just avoided this entirely, and I think would have been just as successful by just having someone actually do art that looks better. Like, it's not distracting in the movie. It's so brief, but it's just kind of just one of those things where it's just like the film has kind of been marred, and even me talking about it now is like talking about this shit. It's like the movie is really good. And it would have been even better if I didn't have to have this conversation of just not ignoring this part of it. And it feels unnecessary. But I'd still say, it's a good movie. It's worth checking out. I think for a lot of people, it's the slippery slope of, well, if this is okay, then suddenly Disney, Sony, Netflix, everyone's using AI and it becomes a big problem. It's like, maybe not. I don't know. But,
well, the trailer that I watched, regardless of AI art or not,
I think you would like it.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend it. I think you would enjoy it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I've also seen Monkey Man, which I don't know if I think we contemplated covering. I don't.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. We've got 2 big ones, I think, in early April, before Shogun wraps up, I think between Monkey Man and Civil War. So we'll probably end up covering one of those 2. So maybe I'll hold back my thoughts on Monkey Man in case we do cover it. But I definitely enjoyed it.
Okay.
I'll say that much right now. And, it just came out a few days ago, so that it's pretty
fresh.
Decent. So, yeah, pretty fresh, and enjoyed it. Dev Patel's directorial debut. Very stylish, very cool. Very much enjoyed it. Now, outside of the theaters, I've been doing other things. Watched a movie called My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, classic.
A few weeks ago. Definitely a classic.
About
I think
grits.
it's the first time I've ever watched it in full. Yeah, grits are classic. Marissa Tomei, wonderful in it. Delightful. She's incredible. I think she won an Oscar for it, and I will say, well deserved. Obviously, Joe Pesci is a treasure as well. Ralph Macchio and all, but yeah, it was really fun, and it's held up, and this is true. I can speak to this. It's held up as like one of the most legally accurate movies ever, and it really is. It's a pretty good like rundown on criminal procedure in general, and yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. Like, it didn't feel like straining credulity for like watching it,
Yeah,
and the way that maybe a doctor might watch Grey's Anatomy and think, okay, yeah, that's not how it works, or they might think, that was pretty good, that was pretty accurate. Like, My Cousin Vinny is really pretty true to things for the most part. Obviously with, it's entertaining, of course, it's good fun, but it does a really good job with it. So, My Cousin Vinny, it was on Hulu when we watched it, so it might still be up there for anyone that's feeling that little nostalgia.
It's a pretty awesome show, or pretty awesome movie.
We also rewatched Anastasia. We do it every year. We're a little late to the party here, but guess what? It's still good. So I'm just going to say that now and leave it at that. Shogun, I think we'll have a fuller conversation down the road, is what it seems to be. I think we're in agreement that that's going to be a show certainly worth covering in detail. About 3 episodes in, very much looking forward to the rest. So moving on, we watched season 3 of The Crown. We actually finished all of season 3 of The Crown, which is very good. This is the first season with the new cast, because every 2 seasons they age up the characters. So we get an older Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and Charles, and everyone, all the royals and stuff like that. So it's Olivia Colman playing the Queen now. Tobias Menzies is playing Philip, and everyone's just kind of different at this point. It's still really good. It took a few episodes to kind of adjust to the new people taking over and playing these characters, number one, at a different point in their lives, but I think also just playing them slightly differently as well, as actors tend to do. But it's really interesting. It's really good. I think season 4 is when they introduced Diana for the first time, so we're looking forward to that. Anna's already seen season 4. There's 6 seasons in total, but she's only watched through 4, so we're almost caught up on where she was with it, but it's all new for me. Production values are incredible. Really amazing score in that show. It's all on Netflix. It's a very, very good show. I think it does take liberties with the historical accuracy of stuff, but it definitely feels like there's so much shit in like British history. I'm like, I don't know any of this. So it does. I kind of like that it at least introduces certain things where I'm just like, I had no fucking clue. But I like that a lot about it. So that's one more. Max documentary, Quiet on Set: The Dark Side of Kids TV. Seen anything on this?
No. What is that about?
It's about like Nickelodeon and like how Dan Schneider, who's this producer on a lot of like classic Nick shows, like all that, and
this is why everybody's talking about Nickelodeon recently, I'm assuming.
Yes, exactly. So I was never a big Nickelodeon person back in the day. You may have been.
No. I mean, SpongeBob SquarePants. It's about it.
Yeah, this is more for like the live action side of things. So all that, the Amanda Show, Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that actually Anna watched that I hadn't really watched myself. But basically, Dan Schneider is this producer who like basically ran the show and a lot of like all of those shows more or less. iCarly, Sam and Cat. All like he was basically responsible for producing a lot of those, and it turns out he kind of sucks. Abusive work environment, stuff like that. Weird, creepy shit. And the shows themselves, where you have kids, but like there's a lot of like sexual innuendo, and it's like this is weird and kind of gross. And so this whole thing is like a documentary, basically about the behind the scenes. Kind of about that, about him as a producer, and about the shows and the effect that it had on these kids that were starring in these shows, and how, them looking back on it decade plus on, being like, yeah, it was weird and fucked up that they made me do that, stuff like that. So it was originally 4 episodes as it premiered on Max. They added another 5th episode, which I think is kind of like a recap thing with new episodes. And it also focuses a lot on Drake Bell, who basically reveals in this that he was assaulted when he was like a Nickelodeon star by someone like a cast member that was starring on it, named Brian Peck, who was arrested and charged, and I think pled no contest to like indecent contact with a minor and some shit, and got like some super laughable light sentence, and then subsequently got hired by Disney on some other show. Just super fucked up weird shit. And I think Disney fired him. We're like, we didn't know about the conviction. It's like, well, someone fucked up. And so, yeah. I didn't watch the first episode. Anna watched it. Anna started watching the second episode, and I was like washing dishes and then watched it, and then I got sucked in and watched the rest of it. And it was pretty good. It's a good, like, kind of, I like a good documentary every now and then, and this is kind of obviously one shining a light on some weird fucked up shit, and it's, it's not an uplifting watch or anything like that, but I thought it was pretty well done, and good interviews with the people involved that, basically just being like, these are supposed to be kids shows, but like,
yikes,
it was fucking weird and not right. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it for the like scripted TV stuff, or I guess documentary and like stuff on streaming and stuff like that. Okay. Other things that I have been doing, which again I know I've got a lot here, but been saving it up for a while. A lot of basketball. March Madness happened recently. As of recording this, all of the men's and women's tournaments have concluded.
Did you win any money?
I did not win any money. Oh. I will say this. I did 2 brackets, and a money pool with Anna and her family. I did a real bracket, and I did a Go Gators bracket, which is where I picked Florida to win it all. And then, of course, they lost in the first round, so that bracket was shot immediately. And a horse shit loss, I will say. It was reffed very poorly. Florida should have won that game and almost did, in spite of the bullshit. They would not have won They would not have won the whole tournament. I'm confident, even if they had won that game. So I'm not that mad about it. It was very much a for funsies. But in my for real bracket, I correctly predicted the championship game and the winner, which doesn't happen all the time. So I got the final two and the actual winner right, but I fucked up enough, else along the way that I got second place for our bracket pool. I lost. And I'm holding Texas and Oregon personally responsible because they are the two teams that fucked me, because those were my two outsider picks that, had they won, would have been the difference. But they screwed me. They both knocked on the door of the upsets that I predicted, and then squandered it in the last few minutes of their games. And I knew it was all over from that point, but still. But I had a lot of fun watching basketball. UConn was a fucking machine on the men's side of things. Watching Caitlin Clark play basketball was a thing of beauty. Was awesome. She's a fantastic player. Iowa was a fun team to root for and watch. They also ran into a fucking buzzsaw with the finals going up against South Carolina. That South Carolina team is deep and tall and strong, and they fucking bodied Iowa that whole game pretty much. But it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. So March Madness, it's fun because Anna gets into it too. So we both really get into the March Madness stuff. And I watch the Gators sporadically throughout the season and keep track of things. But once March hits, it's really fun. So yeah, that was good fun. Podcasts, I listened to a podcast called Stealing Superman, which is narrated by Dana Schwartz, and I think trying to remember what the production company is for it, but while I'm thinking about that, I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Okay.
You may have heard of the actor Nicolas Cage.
Absolutely.
iHeart Podcast is iHeart Podcasts is who does it. Nicolas Cage, he's an eccentric kind of guy, eccentric actor. He once upon a time came into possession, which is to say he bought copies of the original Action Comics #1 featuring the debut of Superman. He also had the Detective Comics #27, the debut of Batman, and a couple other comics. And he had them proudly displayed in his home, his Hollywood home, and he hosted parties as a Hollywood actor does. And come to find out, one day after a party, he went looking for his Action Comics #1 and Detective Comics #27, and found out someone had swiped them right out of their frames that they were on display in. And so this is like a 6, 7, 8 episode podcast, basically going into what happened to Nick Cage's Superman comic and, the Batman comic. Like, what happened to him? Where did they go? Because it was a mystery. It was a mystery for the longest time of, where did these go? Who stole these? And so it answers some questions. Some questions are left unresolved. But it was a good journey. I really enjoyed it. They also have a bonus episode in there who's about this intellectually disabled Superman fan in, I think, Illinois, maybe. In Illinois, who befriends someone, and then turns out they steal his whole shit, and he has a bunch of Superman comics and Superman memorabilia that he gets stolen from him, and it's a really nice story about a community rallying around this guy and basically supporting him through that, and that one has a happy ending where most of his stuff gets returned at the end, and the guy gets arrested and jailed.
But Nick Cage's shit does not.
I won't say what happens to Nick Cage's stuff. I won't say what happens to it. There is resolution to some of it, but it was a fun journey. It's more about the journey than the conclusion. The conclusion does not give you all the answers, is what I'll say. But it was fun because it was, Nicolas Cage's obsession with Superman, which inspired me to do the next thing, which is watch the documentary that the late John Schnaps put out a little while ago called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, which is about the Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage Superman movie that was to be in, I think, the late 90s, but never actually happened.
Well, he made an appearance in a Flash movie.
And then, as Bruce Brown, can attest to in The Flash, he did finally get his appearance as Superman, sort of, weird CG bizarre version of Superman fighting his giant spider. The Death of Superman Lives. I actually just watched it on YouTube, which, someone put it up there and they haven't pulled it down yet, so I don't feel too bad about it. It's John Schnapp, who I think He was like a journalist who, I can't remember what website, maybe Collider. Yeah, he mostly did stuff with Collider, the website. He basically made this documentary about like this crazy, weird Superman movie that never got made. And, Tim Burton was going to direct, Nicolas Cage was going to star, he was going to have Brainiac as the villain. And there's a lot of stuff that had come out. Kevin Smith has talked about his experience of like writing a version of the script for it. A lot of concept art had come out. Pictures of Nicolas Cage, like screen testing or like, testing out costumes and stuff had come out. And so it's really going even further than that. And it's really interesting. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff of like Nicolas Cage wearing Superman shit that we hadn't seen before. So it's really cool. I'd recommend it, for anyone that wants to see like a what could have been. Movie would have been fucking nuts. Absolutely batshit. Nicolas Cage is a horrible pick for Superman, but it would have been really interesting to see at the same time. And it would have been far more interesting to see than his horrible bullshit CG version in The Flash. Let's put it that way. So yeah. I would recommend it. It's on YouTube, and I think you can probably obviously access it other ways as well. Last but not least, concerts. Been to some concerts.
Oh, man.
First up, went to a 2-night thing of Between the Buried and Me, a progressive metal band, which, you either like them or you don't, or you care about it or you don't, which is what it is. But I went with Enrique, our resident Marvel expert. 2 nights in Philly. They played 2 albums in full, on each night, basically.
That's pretty
cool. They played an album each night in full, and basically they played Colors and Colors 2, which is like a sequel album that they wrote. And it was awesome. Great show, smaller venue. Which is at like it's like a bowling alley / concert venue sort of thing.
That's pretty freaking. That's all. Were people bowling?
Cool. They weren't, but there definitely is the potential to do it because there are lanes alongside close to where the stage is.
Philadelphia is a wild place.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Anyway, really good show. Really enjoyed it. Very fun. Good stuff. And then I think maybe the next weekend, Anna and I found our way to Albany, New York, for the double feature of Jimmy Eat World and Fall Out Boy.
That would have been cool.
Which was a good show. We got floor seats for it. We
like you were in the pit.
So there wasn't a pit proper. There was just seats lining the actual floor, but we would have been in the equivalent of where the pit would have been had there been a pit.
Okay.
We splurged a little bit for it. We bought these tickets in like September or something like that. And as Fall Out Boy is our favorite band. We saw Fall Out Boy twice last year, which was nice. But the first time we saw him, Bring Me the Horizon was the support act. And we're like, fuck this, I didn't care. But then when Jimmy Eat World was announced as a support act, we're like, oh, that's awesome. Jimmy Eat World is awesome.
Cool.
Like, we like Jimmy Eat World. So I'd never seen them live. She'd never seen them live. They were great live, really good fun, good set. Fall Out Boy put on a good show as well. Look, I'm not going to lie. I've obviously spent some time in my youth not liking Fall Out Boy, probably giving Fall Out Boy some shit, making fun of him and whatnot. But I've come around on him, it's the things we do for love. But I legitimately... Look, there are Fall Out Boy things that I like, and there are Fall Out Boy things that I don't like.
Of course.
To keep it on brand for this episode, they did a Ghostbusters thing, I think around the time that Answer the Call came out, the women one, and that song is fucking horrendous. Anna will admit to it as well. Fucking horrendous. They're Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire cover, horrendous, real bad. So no covers for them. But yeah, no, they put on a really good show, good fun show, good stage. I think, it helped when we saw them last. It was like when we saw them at their full proper tour last, we had lawn seats. Certainly floor seats are a better experience and stuff,
sure.
But they put on a really good show. Yeah. So I had a lot of fun. I think the tour is over now, but yeah, no, it was good. Money well spent. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. We both enjoyed it. So, since we haven't had episodes banked up in terms of recording, I haven't had anything to edit in a little while, so I've been using my hands to hold a PS5 controller and play Spider-Man 2 as well. I'm at the 72% mark. I think I still have a sizable chunk of the story still left, but I've done a lot of the side stuff.
Okay.
So I'm hoping I'm hoping next time we record, I might have fuller thoughts on Spider-Man 2. And I'm going to hold that back because number one, we've been here too long, and I think I might be done by the time we record next. So I'd like to talk about it more then. So I'm out of breath, and I think I'm out of things to say.
Whoa, we did it, dude!
But we did it. You know, we I know it's it's longer than maybe the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire episode needed to be, but we accomplished a lot, and you know what? I feel really good about that. So
we're caught back up, baby. We're here. We're
Listeners'
done.
Corner, catching up, news. Like we're in a really good place, So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up then. Yeah, thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. That is good for early access to all of our regular episodes like this one, as well as maybe some bonus episodes. We are closing in on Planet of the Apes season in about a month or so. I don't know if we want to fire those up soon. We haven't talked about it really much other than saying things about it in the middle of recording episodes, but maybe we could do that. Would be good. I want to rewatch them anyway, so if nothing else, I probably will. But if we wanted to do that, maybe we could do that or something else. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. Not now. We'll talk about it off air. But yeah, Patreon episodes, regular episodes early, bonus episodes before anyone else. That's kind of the deal, the package deal you get with Patreon. Our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. You'll have links to our socials there. We're on Twitter at WRRPod. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. We're on Instagram at watchreviewrepeat. And of course, as I said earlier, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, if you've got something to say, send it our way. And you can send it our way to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Be featured on a future edition of the Listener's Corner, much like Mr. Bruce Brown was very extensively on this episode. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. We haven't really talked about what we're going to do next, because we're kind of behind the curve getting to Ghostbusters now. It's kind of put us behind the curve a little bit in general. Monkey Man is out. Civil War is around the corner. I think probably one of those two feels like a good thing to do. Probably then Shogun would be my speculation. Civil War is an Alex Garland directed movie, pretty intense. At the end of the day, I've seen one. I will probably see both. It's probably a question of which one does Andrew go see in a theater first, and I think I could probably figure out.
Nothing against Monkey Man, but
right,
Alex Garland.
Realistically, I think Civil War is probably going to be the winner. But like I said, if nothing else, I can talk a little bit more about Monkey Man on the next episode if we're not covering it. We shouldn't have as much to get through. Although maybe Civil War, I don't know. Maybe Civil War will be a long conversation. But yeah, maybe Civil War then. Maybe Civil War sounds like it's going to be the winner. But we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll finalize plans and hopefully won't be as long of a gap in between episodes as there were, between this one and the last one. But we'll figure it out. All right. I think that's it. Andrew, I'm going to let you take everyone out.
Well, take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.